Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Porch Talk. This is episode 10 on our Boys Join the Porch series. We got something special here tonight. We're going to do college football season's coming up as well as the NFL. A lot of excitement for both. If you haven't checked out our previous Boys Join the Porch, just a brief summary on what it is. Some of our buddies, they come on. We all kind of cut up, have a few jokes and stuff, but we talk about some sports, just give our opinions. Nothing too serious, just kind of a laid back thing. Um, J Moore, do you have anything about it before we get started?
No, I mean, tonight's episode, obviously we're going to do some predictions and stuff, but yeah, mainly just supposed to be us acting like we're sitting around, just like we'd be in person.
Maybe
so
on
we'll
a porch.
we'll not sitting on the porch. So we'll try to get to that, make it seem like that, but we also got the segment, so we got to kind of, it's hard to do it when you're on a computer like this because you got to wait until people are done. You don't know when they're finished and, delays, but should have a good time. Hope we'll have two more join in later maybe. But, yeah, that's about it, man. There's one rule, and if I was going to tell them when they got on, but if Logan and Rusty, whichever one, if one of them gets a little too, let's call it aggressive with the other one, we'll just. You want to make a unanimous vote to kick one off, or you want to make a unanimous vote to kick the loser off?
The loser might be the best.
Let's kick the loser's argument off. I'm done. I'm good with that.
We need to get a like a horn button or a buzzer, kind of like or even like maybe you can just mute one like they do at the debates.
That's it. I could be
That's what you need to do. You just mute them both.
I don't know where it's at, but
the horn, yeah.
We'll figure it out. Before we get started, I do want to reintroduce, because they've been on before. We got John Ward here. Just brilliant individual here, a master of words. Always just leaves you on the edge of your seat. And then we got probably the best.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Go ahead.
Also, what now? Current assistant basketball coach at Richlands High School. Am I correct in that?
That's what they say, yeah.
And what are you doing? Anything else at Richlands coaching wise, or?
No.
That's it. Okay, I'm sorry. I want to throw all your credentials out. I didn't want Cameron to leave you.
True.
Thank you.
Then we also have the best hair in the game. Probably the most loyal Bengals fan I know.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, you got the shirt right there.
Tommy Krieger would have a argument for that because he's went through some bad years more than Thomas has. I feel like, but it's not Thomas's fault. So yeah, I guess longevity is really the only thing he's got on you. I guess.
I'll give it to him. Yeah.
But you're still not any less loyal though. So.
Yeah. Well, we got the one and only Thomas Burniston here with us. We have two more joining on later, and for the sake of us not stopping in the middle of our episode and introducing them, we have Rusty Yates and Logan Cantrell.
Rusty Yates will be how do you want to describe it? Probably a Georgia hat. Probably a mean look on his face when he comes on.
Yeah.
Probably really close to the screen like this. Probably more likely. Look around. I don't know. This year I think Georgia's gonna, and then he'll come. And then Logan, obviously, Cantrell's Holding used to be a sponsor. They dropped us, but he's the co-owner and operator of Cantrell's Holding Equipment. So that'll be him. He'll probably be in a Panthers or a Carolina or a Tar Heels shirt with probably his Carolina hat on. The blue Carolina. I don't know. He might have a Panthers hat on. I'm not sure.
He might go Panthers for football season.
Yeah, and probably in the first 5 minutes mentioning hosting the podcast.
Yeah, there'll be a smart aleck remark come from him towards Rusty. You'll know you'll figure it out.
So what I thought about doing, so that way the listeners that we have don't get too confused and we don't get too confused. You have to have 4, conference champions in there. I mean, I guess realistically could have like a power or a G or the other. What's the word?
You don't want people to get confused by listening to it.
I know, I'm confusing myself.
You confused me earlier. So what? So
group of five.
There's 4 conferences now, right?
So you gotta have.
Yeah, you got 4 conference champions, which is probably your power 4, like your ACC,
Okay.
Big 12, SEC, and Big 10. And then you're gonna have your group of 5, which is like your Memphis or Liberty, or and then it's in which that group of 5 team, assuming that they're not in the top 4, they could be seeded anywhere from the 5 through 12.
So the top 4 seeds at the end of the year get an automatic
bye.
Okay, get to bye.
Yeah, and then it's just the next 7 highest ranked teams.
Well, I didn't go that far with my research. I just picked 12 teams, and I don't have it in any particular order how I think they'll finish.
Wait, is it the next 7 highest seeded teams, or is there one that's guaranteed in there just from being a non-Power 5 champion?
You have a group of 5, like a non-Power 5 champion, that's a guarantee with your top 4 of those 4 conferences. Yeah, but now
7 and 5. Yeah, never mind. I miscounted.
Yeah, that group of 5 might be a 12 seed, which we won't seed them.
So, but they have to. They have to put a group of that group in there. They have to put one of those in.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's why whenever I was sending that stuff over the week, because I didn't want to get into seeding and second round and stuff, but I just wanted everybody to kind of know the gist, like the main core details of it.
We got you. Thank you for the rundown.
Well, Cam, you want to go first then, since you're the proprietor of this? Since you figured all this out and explained it.
For those of you who don't know, Cameron actually designed the playoff system.
Yeah,
the 12-team bracket
with an automatic bid for UVA at the end of the year, a home game too. We might not make it out of that first round, but Scott Stadium will host one at least.
Might not make it out of that first quarter.
No, I mean, we'll start, I guess, with the ACC, and just we'll bounce on each of the 4 conferences, their champion, and then we'll just name our 5 through 12 off. We don't have to talk about them, unless you want to. But for me, ACC, I think it's kind of like a 3-team race this year. I think you have Florida State. I didn't include the Hokies, but I'll give you a chance for you to defend them. So I got Florida State, Clemson, and Miami, with a slight possibility of Louisville maybe sneaking in. They had a good year last year. Jeff Brom's a heck of a coach, but I didn't have them in my 12. So just to kind of shorten it down, I have Clemson winning it all. I have them losing a close one to Georgia here in about a week and a half, and I have that kind of giving them some confidence and taking that into the next few games. Their OC, Garrett Riley, Lincoln Riley's brother, they paid a ton of money from TCU. It's year 2 in his system. Cade Klubnik's back again. Their defense is loaded. I have them winning it, and I'll get to Florida State here in a minute, but I got Clemson winning. What about you, Jay Moore?
I have Florida State winning. I really don't want to say what I think because I'm afraid I don't want to jinx any possibilities, but we'll talk about that later. I'm gonna go with Florida State just because I don't trust Clemson again yet. They've kind of not been bad, but they've not been they've not been the regular Clemson that we got used to. I think Florida State's probably. I mean, I'm not saying that this matters on the field or not as far as talent and stuff like that, but I think they got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder and a bad taste in their mouth from last year. I think they're going to come out with like a different kind of, intensity and just kind of focus this year. And I think their schedule, I've not looked at it, don't know who they have home and away, so this could be a completely terrible pick, but I'm just going to go with them for the sake of being a little different, I guess. Go ahead,
What do
John.
I had Clemson up till a minute ago, but I'm going to go with Florida State. They have the Clemson game at home. I think you're right. They definitely will have a chip on their shoulder, especially after the very bad bowl game. And DJU, I mean, he's had like 4 or 5 chances. I think he eventually has to hit. Maybe with the talent they have down there, it'll work out for him. So I have Florida State.
May have.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Clemson too. I thought I'd be the only one going with Clemson because everybody seems really high on Miami because of all their superstar transfers and Florida State because how good they were last year. I just think I don't know. Eventually, Dabo rejecting the whole portal system has to pay off, right? To build character and chemistry.
Maybe
We'll see. But I think year two. I think having another year for Klubnik's going to help. The defense was a little bit down last year, but they pretty much all came back. I think there's talent there. They were just raw last year. I think they'll be better this year. I'm not as high on Florida State as a lot of people. I think they lost pretty much their entire defense and their quarterback. So I think they've got a lot to overcome to get back to where they were last year. So I'm gonna go with Clemson too.
Let me tell you why Clemson is not going to win the ACC unless somebody else loses at least one game. Because around week 8 or 9, they got a loss coming to them. I'm gonna go ahead and call it right now, but We'll talk about that later.
I mean, the Hokies, they had a really good finish to the season. I'll give them that.
I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to jinx it.
2 fun facts about Clemson. One, they were struggling at the beginning of last year, but then they won, I think, the last 6 or 7 straight games. Right after that whole rant with the kid on the phone, you remember that? Talking about him, and then Dabo went off on him, and after that, they've won ever since. But to the transfer portal, you mentioned that. I heard this the other day. Clemson, I think it's Army and Navy, I believe, are the only teams in the country that are not actively using the transfer portal.
And they're
I might
not
be
allowed
missing
to.
one, but
Even the Democrats are using the transfer portal right now.
yeah. So, yeah, I think Miami is. You mentioned Miami, and I have them in my 12, which I'll get to in a minute. But they do have talent. It's one of those things, kind of like Jay Moore mentioned about Clemson. They've just been down a few years. That's kind of how Miami is. They've just been down, but they do have a very easy schedule. I think they have that one game against Florida State. Then I think they avoid Clemson, and then pretty much everybody else is. I mean, they should be favorites in.
Nope.
So
But
it's
the
just going
problem
to
with
come down.
Miami is they're always overhyped. They're like Texas was up until last year. I think they've had one ACC title game appearance since they've been in the conference.
Yes, not many.
And they lost.
Yeah. If it comes down to a last-second decision, they did really poorly at that last year. So
yeah, they do have Florida week 1, and which I think a lot of people think Florida is going to be near the bottom of the SEC, but still yet, going on an away game there, and what I'm assuming is probably going to be a heated environment because they're going to be out to prove something because everybody's routing them off, which I do think they'll probably be near the bottom, but that's still
near the bottom of the
team.
SEC. Near the bottom of the SEC may be near the top of the ACCs.
Yeah. I mean, you never know.
Do they have a ridiculous schedule? Florida does, right? Like,
yeah.
If they have a bad record, it's probably not because of how bad they are. It's the gauntlet they're going to have to go through.
Yeah, they have. I mean, kind of like Michigan. Michigan has a crazy schedule too.
Let's go there. Let's go to Big Ten while we're talking about it.
Alrighty. You want to start off? You want me?
I'll get it. I got Ohio State winning it this year. As bad as I hate to say it, because I hate them, but I think Michigan's going to have issues, just all the distractions and losing what they lost, and I think they'll be very, very good. But I think they'll be a little not as good as last year. I think Penn State could be good, but Franklin doesn't win games against ranked opponents, so Ohio State, I think, will figure out a way to win that conference. Obviously, you have some newcomers to it. I guess you got USC and Oregon. Is that right? I think Oregon might be Washington. I think Oregon might be the dark horse in that conference. I don't know if you call it a dark horse or not, but I think adjusting to the travel and all that stuff, and they're going to be playing a 20-degree game up north somewhere this year. It's going to be a big game, and it's going to cost them not being used to that environment and doing that. I think it's going to take them a year or two to adjust to the Big Ten travel and environment. So that's kind of why I'm not going with Oregon, but I think they're about as talented as a team you can get. But I'm as bad as I hate to, like I said, I'm going to pick Ohio State.
No, and like I say, mine. Yeah, I'm gonna have Ohio State as well. I think we talked about it in our group a little bit. They got a lot of great transfers. You had Will Howard at quarterback from K State. You have Junkins from Ole Miss, who's probably one of the better running backs in the country, to pair up with Henderson, who's also probably one of the better running backs in the country. They got a top freshman wide receiver coming in, who is one of the highest rated wide receivers in years. I think it was Jeremiah Smith, maybe.
Yeah.
Might be wrong on that, but then you have the other receiver they have that I cannot say. I'm not going to try to butcher it on here.
Yeah, don't try that.
Yeah. So, and the defense was, I think, a top maybe 1 or 2 or 3 defense last year. They were great, and you bring back almost everybody, and you add Downs, the safety from I think Alabama, who's probably one of the better safeties in the country. So, I mean, they're loaded. I mean, it's just, we talked about it before. On paper, they probably should win it all. They have all the names. I know we'll get deeper into it here in a minute, but I have them winning the Big Ten. I do think that game at Oregon, it is kind of earlier in the year, but I think that's going to be a pretty tough game just because of the environment. But I do think they probably pull it out, just kind of like what Jamar mentioned. It's just different. When you jump into a new conference, they play different. Pac-12 plays different than the Big Ten, and just same as like the Big 12 jumping into the SEC. I think you're going to see some issues there too. Just trying to get all the kinks worked out. But yeah, I have Ohio State winning, and I have Ohio State beating Michigan this year. John, what do you think?
I have 2 words. I'm gonna disagree with y'all. I have the Ducks. I think that having that game at home is big. Getting Ohio State in Eugene, and then I've got the schedule here. There are only 2, what I would say are tough road trips out east. They are at Michigan, but I don't think Michigan's going to be unbeatable this year like they were a year ago. And then they go to at Wisconsin, who again's not been that great. So I got the Ducks.
What time of the year are those games?
They are. The Michigan one's November 2nd. The Wisconsin one's the 16th.
Yeah, see, I don't think it matters how much necessarily the good the team is. I think they're going to be, water runs off a duck's back, but ice might not.
Wow.
Great quote.
It's a good one.
That's somewhere.
But you're probably going to be right. I think it may take some time to adjust, but that's the only reason I said that. But I didn't realize they had Ohio State at home, so that's a big deal.
I also think Lanning is like a top 5 coach in the country. They're lucky to have kept him. So,
Well,
he could possibly already be the best coach in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
It's not
Thomas,
Ryan
what
Day.
do you have, Thomas?
I do agree with that for sure.
I was gonna say Ohio State, but that's boring. So I'm gonna take Penn State now because I loved Penn State last year. If you look back at our old podcast, I picked them in every game, and they lost both those to Washington. Which even after those games, I thought they were the best team in the game. They just fumbled it there at the end. I think their biggest problem last year was Aller not doing anything exciting. He was a very boring quarterback. I think he held him back, but they got this new offensive coordinator that I think loves big plays, and he's going to want to use some more of Alex talent. I think that's going to take them a long way. And then their defense is still going to be top tier. Good defense. They've got some good transfers. So I think maybe the Penn State curse is over. I think they've suffered enough for their past sins. It's a hard thing to overcome those. Eventually they have to bounce back.
Yeah, they're the only ones that have got punished for sins like that in here recently. Like, I'm not sure why they had to suffer so bad when we got.
I know. I think it's time Ohio State suffers for Urban Meyer's past sins. So that's why I'm going with Penn State.
Yeah.
Well, Penn State, we were pretty high on them last year too, if I'm not mistaken. This is supposed to be the year that they, take the next step because all their guys are, I think, seniors now. Most of their big time playmakers. The only reason why I didn't have them up there is because of Aller, the quarterback. And you mentioned him. For whatever reason, I think I had faith last year. He, failed me. So I can't. They're in my first 4 out. I mean, I haven't really put together a list, but they would be in it of the whole 12. And I think that Jamar mentioned earlier, in big games, Franklin is 3-22, I think, in his career. So against like top 25. So I can't bank on him yet.
Hey, can we talk about real quick? I'm not sure that we ever addressed it on here after it happened, but there was a lot of comments that came our way about a certain game we picked that said Michigan wouldn't beat Alabama. Is that who it was? And I don't know if we ever addressed it or not, but in case any of those people randomly come across the page, told you, I guess is what we should say.
That's it. Rusty, just kind of let you know what's going on. We're picking conference winners. We already did the ACC, which is a spot in the top 4, presumably, in the playoffs. And now we're on the Big Ten. So if you just want to, I guess, kind of pair together your ACC winner and your Big Ten winner.
Yeah. My ACC, I've got Miami over Florida State. I was kind of back and forth with those two. Miami, they've kind of been, I don't know, like the last couple of years with Mario Cristobal. I think they've had, like they have the talent now, and I think the time is now. I think Cam Ward is going to be really good. They've got running back from Oregon State, that Damian Martinez guy. I think he's gonna be really good. They bring a lot of people back from last year, and their schedule. I looked at their schedule earlier, and they don't really play anybody other than Florida State. I mean, if you really want to give Virginia Tech an argument, you could. I mean, I don't think anybody really knows what Virginia Tech's going to be able to do this year. I know they have had
somebody already has given Virginia Tech an argument.
We're not talking about it. We're not going to jinx it.
Oh, okay.
We're all open to talk about it.
But we're coming.
Well,
they go ahead.
Tech has a preseason hype this year that they've not had in quite some time, and I think that their quarterback, he's projected to do pretty good this year. But I think Miami's probably the strongest team in the ACC this year. So I'm going to give them the edge over Florida State. As far as the Big Ten, it's a pretty boring answer. I think Ohio State just kind of they take it this year. I think Oregon, of course, is right there with them. I know. I heard one of y'all mention Dan Lanning. He's done a really good job since he's been there. I just think that Ohio State's team that they brought back this year, on top of the transfers like Judkins, I think Will Howard's going to be an improvement over McCord. I know there's been a lot of articles that I've read. Their freshman receiver, he's a true freshman, Jeremiah Smith. They're really thinking he's going to be something special. replacing Marvin Harrison Jr., which I don't expect him to fill those shoes right off, but I think that help. I think he'll have an impact pretty early, but I think the running game is what really is the key factor with Chip Kelly coming in. He was so good when he was at Oregon with their running game. I mean, you can go Kenyon Barner, Michael James, those guys back in the day. Like, I think with Travion Henderson, yeah, and Judkins, I think they're just. I mean, both of those guys could go in the first round next year. The only question mark with Ohio State is their line. It was a little shaky last year, but I think honestly, I don't know who I would pick. I mean, I guess I could say I'd pick them over Oregon during their matchup during the season, but I think as time goes on, I mean, it could be a toss up because I really think that Oregon's going to be really good this year. I think Gabriel's going to be really good. I like what they build at Oregon. But as far as who's going to win the Big Ten is going to clinch that top spot in the playoff, I think it'll be Ohio State.
So I think we have everybody in the Big Ten, right?
Go ahead and let him keep talking and go ahead and do the SEC and let's get this out of the way.
Go ahead.
Well,
yeah.
Who would I pick in the SEC? I don't even know who I pick. I'm going to stay on par with the boring. I guess I'll pick Georgia, which I don't necessarily think like you could go Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is going to be in there. Texas is going to be in there. I think I'm going to go with Georgia. I think that we bring the balance of the offense and defense. We did lose some offensive firepower last year with Bowers, McConkey, and McIntosh. But they won't fit in there, buddy. It won't fit in there. That's the charger. But
you want to mention all the arrests you had? You lost a few like that too.
I would rather not. I think Kirby has addressed that enough in press conferences. But I think our defense is going to be really good, like every year. But we didn't really lose much in the drafts. We've got a pretty stacked defensive line. Malachi Starks is going to be back. A lot of people are talking about KJ Bolden. He's a freshman. He was one of the top recruits this year. People think that he might get some playing time this year. But I think our running game could very well be pretty good too. But Trevor Etienne, I think him coming from Florida, I think he'll have a pretty good impact for us. Hold on, Bubba. He wants to show you all his cards.
They're autographed.
Yeah.
Look, wait.
That's sweet.
Which of course,
right, Percy Harvin.
I don't think it's Percy Harvin. It's Zachary Carter. They're autographed though.
Oh, cool!
Thank you.
There it is. Yep.
You see it, Cameron?
Oh yeah, that's awesome, buddy.
And he's got another one. I don't know who this guy is. Michael Clemens.
You don't know Michael Clemens?
I do not.
No, I pulled
That's a good
it.
card.
I just pulled it. I'll trade you.
That's a good card.
Yeah.
He said he'll trade you. But I think, Carson Beck coming back, I think this will be year 2 of the Bobo being back, and I think it'll be back on a roll, and we'll be. I think we'll get in there. I think Ole Miss has a really good chance. Jackson Dart, those guys are going to be really good. Alabama's kind of up in the air. I think a lot of people were expecting them to fall off. I don't expect them to fall off, but I think they'll be really good. Texas will be good. But I think I'm going to go with the Dogs. Clinching that.
Of course, man.
Clinching the top spot in the SEC. All right.
Well, my team is probably this year might be Clemson or Ohio, maybe, because Rusty's already took it for that whatever thing that we were gonna do soon. We're winning.
Those two pretty good picks.
You go over here.
John, what do you have for the SEC?
Bro.
Ski wrote us the whole audio book on the Georgia Bulldogs, but I do have
I can go all day.
I don't have to say anything else.
Thomas?
Yeah, I had Georgia too, which it worries me. I believe they play, looking at their schedule, I think they play Bama, Texas, and Ole Miss on the road. I could be wrong, but that's pretty tough. I still have them. I still think they're the best team in the country to start the season. We'll get to that later, but if they can survive those games, I think they're going to be the best team in the SEC. I think their biggest competition is going to come from Texas, but yeah, I'm going Georgia too.
I think that if a bail bondsman in Georgia doesn't get it with an NIL deal of some kind worked out, then it's a daggone travesty. First of all, let me say that. Then my pick is Texas. I'm going with the Longhorns. I'm big on them last year. I think they're going to be good again. I don't know if it's so much because they're better than Georgia. I just feel like Georgia's, with all the off-season stuff, I think they're due for like a slip-up game somewhere that they shouldn't lose, and Texas may upset somebody. I don't, SEC is a gauntlet, so every week, it's a new challenge. But if for no other reason other than to be different, I'm going with Texas.
I'm not very high on Texas this year. I mean, I think they will be good, but I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine they just come in the SEC and then compete for the top spot. Now, I will say that fortunate for them, I was looking at their schedule, and they do avoid Bama and Ole Miss, and I actually didn't realize that whenever I had made my pick. So that is huge. But I'm not going to go and change everything now for it. I have them losing to Michigan, and that's not a conference game. But I do have them losing to Michigan, and I have them losing to Georgia. Now that Oklahoma game, I think they could slip up and lose that one. I think that their defensive line is. They lost a few pieces last year. I don't think their defense is going to be as great as what it was. And I think they lost their starting running back or one of their running backs here a few weeks ago. Yeah, so the starting running back, I think they lost the receiver to the draft. Was it, I think, Worthy, maybe? So I think Ewers is a good quarterback. I think they are good. But like I mentioned earlier, I think these conference realignment, like these teams going to these big conferences, I think the style is just going to be different. I have Georgia winning it, obviously, but I think Texas is going to fall down a little bit, and I'm going to have Bama even coming in second in that division or that conference.
Do you think Venables is on the hot seat this year?
No, I don't. But I think they do have a pretty tough schedule.
It's a tough schedule.
Yeah, I think they're going to take that into account. But I think after next year, maybe. I think like Sarkisian, not that Sarkisian would be on the hot seat anyway, but I'm pretty sure that him and Venables will have a year to kind of get things sorted out.
And John, how do y'all feel about Ole Miss? I think they have a really good chance this year. Like, I don't know why I feel that way. I don't know. It's just maybe the last 2 years is probably the first time and maybe ever, I don't know, that they've had consecutive 10-win seasons. Mm-hmm. But I think Lane Kiffin honestly has his team somewhere, and I think I have them, in my playoff. But I think
they'll go 10-2. I have them in my playoff.
Yeah, okay. I think they're really good, honestly. They're dangerous at home, for sure.
Yeah, I might end up having them over one of the teams that I did have in there. Now that I look at their schedule, that's the thing about this 12-team playoff, man. That's what I was talking about in the group. It makes it very interesting. Like every game this year, like for the teams that could be in it, they're super important because you slip up and you do lose one that like you should. Like say Ole Miss loses one to South Carolina, that can knock them out. And I think the importance of every single week is heightened now. But yeah, I mean they realistically could go 11-1 or 10-2.
Yeah,
because I could see them beating LSU. they'll probably lose
Yeah.
to Georgia. But yeah, I
Well-
mean, he's got a lot of talent, and I think they got a lot of transfers too. So
There's a little bit of
Yeah.
cushion. There's a little bit of cushion in college football because, like Thomas said, Georgia
Nobody
has.
cares. No, you're done.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
it's about time you showed up.
Hello, guys.
But,
How
like-
are y'all?
howdy. Are
Pinky
you gonna
nose
say?
again,
You gonna
Rusty.
finish what you're saying, Rusty? Or you gonna
Shut
quit
up,
because he got in here?
No. Yeah, he's done got me flabbered.
Oh, you weren't even in here for 2 seconds.
What's the deal?
But there's some cushion in college football. Georgia does have a really rough road schedule, which I mean, everybody in the SEC seems like, or even in the Big Ten. I think schedules this year are much better and more difficult. But at least on the Georgia side of things, what are you doing?
He's
Stop.
all over the place now. He's done.
Yeah, he's
He's
been so excited
giving
about
us a
this
stone
podcast.
cold back there.
He's been so excited. But like we play at Bama, at Texas, at Ole Miss. We can afford to lose one of those games, if not two of those games. We win out, we're still going to be in the playoff. And like last year, we won every game, lost to Bama
Not
in the
every
SEC
game.
championship, and then we should have been in the playoff, but it is what it is. But that's what's exciting about this year is there's some cushion, but I think the games are still going to be explosive.
I got one question. If Bama got beat twice, but Georgia got beat once, how was Bama in the playoffs, but not Georgia?
I think Bama
were
got
better.
the SEC championship game.
Logan said they were better. Do you think so?
Whatever, Logan.
Mason, it's past your bedtime, buddy.
Yeah,
It is
man.
past his
Go to bed.
bedtime. I don't know what you're doing. He's wide awake. He's been
It's
so
fine, Rusty.
excited.
Oh, no, I ain't gonna say that.
Yeah.
Hey,
Better not.
Logan, I don't know if you looked into it any because I think you was going to jump in here past the college football, but we just picked our ACC, SEC, and Big Ten winners, and then we're getting ready to pick our Big 12. Do you, off the top of your head, do you have anybody winning?
Listen, I don't even know who's in. I don't even know who plays where anymore. Like that. I mean, that's great, but like,
Yeah.
I'll get back to you.
Okay, that'll work. We'll get back to you.
I mean, Carolina's
right.
winning the ACC, so mark that one down for me.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a very
Interesting
that's a
pick.
Didn't see
bold
that coming.
take
did
there.
you?
Yeah, bold take.
So a lot of things are going to have to happen.
Yeah, they're going to
What
pick
did you
the
say?
quarterback
ACC,
first.
SEC, and who?
Big 10,
Big Ten.
and we're getting ready to start the Big 12.
Yeah, y'all go ahead. I'll catch up.
All right.
I'm just here so I
Um,
don't get fined.
John, who do you got for the Big 12?
Oklahoma State. I think Ollie Gordon's a beast. I think Gundy's probably like a top 10 coach in college football. And as far as their schedule goes, they don't play Utah. They've got Kansas State on the road, so that's their big game.
So they don't play Utah?
Nah, I don't think so.
I thought they played Utah. Who am I thinking of? Yeah, they play Utah.
Oklahoma State does?
Yeah, September 21st.
Okay,
But
yeah.
it's at Stillwater, though.
Well, they're still my pick.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Who you got, Thomas?
Yeah, I don't know much about this conference. I was taking Utah. Cam Rising, he's got one more go at it. They got a solid defense, a couple transfers. I wanted to say Kansas State because I love the lavender basketball uniforms, but they don't wear those in football, so I'm going Utah.
I was going to throw mine in. I have Utah winning as well. A lot of places I listen to, they say death, taxes, and Utah football. They're kind of always there at the end. If Cam Rising plays, and he's been hit or miss. If you're a listener to last year's podcast, I think that every week that me and Jamar did a podcast, we said, well, if Cam Rising plays this week, because the coach Winningham didn't officially rule him out at all until the end of the year. And so every single week, we thought he might come back. But he is back now. And if he stays healthy, I think they're going to win it all. Win the Big 12. But I do think the Big 12 is, it could be anybody's, really. Kansas State, they got a lot of expectations this year. Avery Johnson, quarterback, Sunshine. I think the New York Post, which I'm not saying they know a lot, but they had him winning the Heisman this year. So, they should be pretty good. You have Arizona in there with their quarterback receiver tandem. I was trying to think. There's another team. Oklahoma State. You have Oklahoma State as well. So I think it's wide open, but I'm going to go with Utah. I think they just solid on both sides of the ball. They have been for years, and this could be Winningham's last year. They already named a coach in waiting. So I have Utah win the Big 12. What do you got, Jay Moore?
First of all, New York Times, that's fake news. Can't listen to it. Second,
they also had Joe Biden winning like a week ago.
Yeah.
So.
He died.
Second, I think so. Yes, he did. Secondly, Kirby Smart needs to take a lesson out of Gundy's playbook and support your daggone players when they get in a little trouble. It is what it is. Thirdly, hey Logan.
What's up, dude?
And fourthly, I got Utah. I hope we get to see that guy play because Cameron's right. I'm tired of hearing about how he gets to play every week. If he gets hurt this year, we will not. I put a rule in. We will not talk about it week to week until he's back on the field because it was every week. Hey, Cam, is he playing this week? They say he is. I don't know. So, it really was a theme of the show last year was, is this guy playing or not? I think Utah wins. That conference, like Cam said, it's kind of, I don't want to say flip a coin, but they've been pretty consistent for a while now. So I'll go with Utah.
What about you, Rist?
Y'all pretty much, put all the details out there, but I'm going to kind of go the other way and go Kansas State. I think Cam Rising has been injury prone last couple of years. Don't really know what will happen this year with him. He could come back and, ball out, but, we said that last year and it just never came to fruition. So I think that Kansas State has a good ball team this year too. I think they'll be right in the mix. So I think it'll definitely be between them two. A lot of people want to throw Colorado in there, but I'm not ready for that. So
nobody on this pod.
No
chance. Yeah. There's people out there, but I'm not ready for that conversation. So I did look at their schedule last year. I did talk a lot of crap about Colorado, but they were in a lot of games last year. They definitely got blew out by Washington State and Oregon, but they were in a lot of ball games last year. So if they were better, they are better this year. Maybe they're in the mix. I don't know, but I don't think you put them with Kansas State and Utah. I think they're both much better than Colorado. So I'm going to
until they can prove their O-line can prove that they can block any four of us in this group, I'm not willing to say they're going to win a game.
Ain't nobody stopping John Ward when he comes to the big gap.
That's it. And I just want to put it out there. I can't speak for everybody. I like Deion, so it's not that I don't like Deion, but I'm not a big fan of the team itself.
Those are just not a good football team, and that's okay. Like they can be really cool, but they're just not. We literally were going to do a watch party last year, and they ended up losing to Oregon by 75 points.
Yeah, very short party.
Who cares? Deion's awesome.
He can't go play the O-line. And their defense, it's like you have a floodgate on the O-line, you have a floodgate on defense. Like you don't win games like that. And the reason they win all those games is because they did have a good offense. But it's until you've proven that you can actually block somebody. If it's like it was last year, he'll pull his son out just to not risk injury for the draft.
Yeah.
He won't make it a full season. There's no way.
I mean, Shadeur's good, and Travis Hunter's great, but
We
that's
got to
all
keep
they
Travis
have.
Hunter healthy all season long. He is a future superstar in Carolina.
Yeah.
Receiver and DB.
No, we
Yeah.
just need to play DB. We just need to play DB.
So, is it because you're getting Chase at receiver?
Probably, yeah.
You don't need two receivers there, right?
That's too many. It's two more than we've had in the last 5 years. What are you
You
gonna
got
do with two
Thielen.
of them? I don't even know how to do what to do with one.
Yeah,
of
you
them.
got that 38. You got that 38-year-old white guy over there.
Man's literally
What
older
else
than
you need?
Jamar.
Most crisp route running you'd ever see.
I mean, I got good hands. Is that what you're saying?
How's that? What's that route tree look like? We might do some negotiating here. I'll speak on half of Dan Morgan.
I tell you what, his route tree might.
No long distance routes. I'm good. 10 yards in a guaranteed catch.
Do you have 10 in you though? That's the question.
I mean, I ain't gonna run 10 straight. You'll run the ball occasionally. So I mean,
He's more of a fullback. He's more of a fullback.
Yeah, I'll be a good blocking receiver. You know, like Mike Allstott up in the slot or something. You know.
Okay.
There you go.
I mean,
he might not have a big, extensive route tree, but he's got some moves. He put Rusty on the ground a few times during those tackling drills.
I've seen
That's
it.
right. You know, and I'd be good for a locker room. I'd bring experience.
Sure.
You know, be a veteran presence. I feel like so.
Definitely be a veteran.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think you need to talk to somebody about that.
Let me phone Dan here in a minute when we get done here.
There you go.
Whatever it takes to get me to one step closer to meeting Eric Church, I'm all for it. I'll go train right now.
We'll just go ahead and because we've already kind of covered the main ones. Each one, I know you said you wasn't sure, Logan, if you had any wrote down, but if you want to, even when we get to you can even give us just like your championship pick if you've thought that far into it.
Ohio State's going to win the Big Ten. Georgia's probably going to win the SEC. Like I said, Carolina, baby, them boys in blue are coming this year. It's their year. We got old Lefty from somewhere in the out west playing quarterback. He's probably
Texas
A&M.
Okay.
Yeah, A&M out west.
Yeah, Max Johnson.
And then give me Utah as a winner.
Okay.
I mean, Cam Rising's going to do it. I'm an avid Porch Talk listener, and I know how good he is. So, like, if he's healthy this year, you better watch out.
If we have a Cam Rising tracker every week. That's what we need.
Yeah, just put me in a little corner.
Are we just gonna name off the rest of our?
Yeah, that's what I was going. I was going to let each person do their 5 through 12, and then just say who you had in the Final Four and who you had winning it, and then we'll tell our Heisman and Heisman.
Well, you start us off. You start us off. Then you're mastermind behind this college football thing here. So
yeah, well, we're just going to go through our 5 through 12, and we already kind of mentioned our top 4 that's going to get the first round bye. I'm not going to seed these, and I don't think anybody is going to go that far into it, but I have Notre Dame, Alabama, Michigan, Oregon, Florida State, now Ole Miss. I did have Iowa because of their schedule, but Ole Miss, Miami, and then my group of 5 winners, Liberty. And for my Final Four, I have Oregon beating Florida State, which, again, we don't have to say who beat who, but I'm just throwing this out there because I did think a bit into it. But I have them beating Florida State, upsetting Georgia, playing in the Natty. I have Notre Dame beating Liberty, beating Utah, and then losing to Oregon. And then I have Ohio State beating Michigan, and then Michigan had beat Ole Miss in the first round. So I had Ohio State beating Michigan in a rematch, and then Alabama beating Miami and Clemson. And it's Alabama and Oregon I have in the Natty, and I have Alabama winning. Kellen DeBoer's first year in the SEC, and I have Jalen Milroe. I guess we can go ahead and say our Heisman. I have Jalen Milroe winning the Heisman. I just think that they're good enough to be in the playoffs at maybe even 10-2 or 11-1. And I think this year is wide open. I don't have anybody that I think is a clear front runner for the Heisman. And I think that if he can get them to the playoffs, which I think he will, that he's going to have the stats for it. He already had the name recognition from last year. I don't think Beck's going to have the stats. I think that he will probably be maybe the second best weapon they have on offense. I think that Ohio State's going to have so many weapons. And then, who besides that? I think you got Gabriel. And Gabriel might be up there as well. I think he might be second. But I have Milroe winning. And I even have my dark horse Heisman winner. And this is kind of they can be really good or they can be middle of the pack. I have Nico from Tennessee as my dark horse Heisman. And that's really based on how LSU done last year with Jaden Daniels. I can see Tennessee being a lot like them. They could have an explosive offense, just like LSU had last year. But going into last year, if you listen to the pod when we first started doing this, I had LSU being way up there because Perkins was voted the top defensive player in the country, maybe the top player overall. And their defense ended up being way overhyped. And this year, Tennessee, they have the number one player in the country voted on, and that's their edge rusher, Pierce, I think's his name. It might be James Pierce, can't remember the first name. But I think their defense might be in that boat. It might be slightly overhyped. They might give up a lot of points, but they're going to score a lot of points. So if they end up making it in the playoffs and swinging a few of these games against Bama and maybe get lucky and have an upset of Georgia or somebody else, then I have him up there as a potential Heisman candidate because he is going to be electric. He's going to be fun to watch. Rusty, go ahead.
My 5 through 12, I had Texas, Oregon, Ole Miss, Utah, Florida State, Penn State, Alabama, and Liberty is my group of 5. I actually had a dark horse contender for the playoff also. Jamar, it's Virginia Tech. So there you go. I'm
really, really dark horse. That is a pitch black horse.
It's a pitch black. That's a pitch black
pitch
horse.
black horse in a dark room. Yeah.
Hey, well, that's the dark horse for you. Yeah.
There we go.
Jamar's about to get started. Go ahead, Jamar. We need some.
Yeah,
we
go
need
ahead.
you to
Chime
jinx
in.
it.
No, interrupt him. Chime in. Let's
Go
hear
ahead.
it.
No, I go ahead. I ain't gonna say
No,
anything.
talk. Let's hear it. Come on.
He's too
Finish it.
scared to. He don't want to jinx him.
Are you done, Rusty?
Here. This is not how we talk.
No, he's
Go
only
back
halfway
at
through
it.
it.
Get it.
No, he still has more to say about Georgia.
Go ahead.
Oh, I could talk all day about Georgia.
Oh, we know. Trust me.
We could too. We could
Soak
read
in the cops.
We could read
Soak
the
in
arrest.
cops.
Read the arrest record.
Oh. Well, so I've got Georgia playing in the national championship against Ohio State. I think that's.
Let me guess. Georgia's winning it.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, that's. I haven't even thought of a semifinal, but that would be Georgia Ohio State. I think is going to be the national championship. But my Heisman winner, I want to go with Ollie Gordon. I think that the Big 12 defensively is not really good, and I think that he's probably my number one running back. I don't know what they have behind him, so he's going to get primarily most of the snaps. I think maybe one of the guys from Ohio State could be better, but they're going to be sharing snaps, so I don't think that either one of them are going to get, I think they're going to be sharing a lot. So I think Ollie Gordon is going to put up a lot of numbers, but my dark horse is Cam Ward from Miami. I think he's going to do really well this year, which I said earlier, I think Miami's going to win the ACC. But I think he's going to put up a lot of numbers. Their schedule's not strong at all, so I think it'll be easy for him to put up numbers. But, yeah, that's about it.
Did you have Oklahoma State in your 12?
No.
So you have him winning it, but not being in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I think this is the year that I don't think anybody that's not in that 12 is going to win it. I think that we talked about it in the group, but I think now it kind of opens it up for the Heisman. It kind of extends it now 1 through 12. I think their best players all the way up to Team 12 could stand a chance, but I think if you don't make the playoffs, I think that's going to be a big mark on them.
I mean, as far as like you said, the clear cut winner for Heisman this year is, I mean, it could be anywhere. I mean, there's so many good quarterbacks, there's so many good running backs. I wanted to think about Luther Burden from Missouri. I think he's the best receiver in college football, and their quarterback's not bad. But I don't. Receivers very rarely ever win. Devontae was the last one to win. The last running back was to win was Derrick Henry in 15. I mean,
God,
it's
was
most
so
of the time
good,
quarterbacks.
man.
So I wanted to go with something different instead of because I could have either went Jackson Dart. I could have went Dylan Gabriel. Could have went Carson Beck, which I don't think Carson Beck's going to win it. But I wanted to throw something different out there. But I really think Cam Ward has a good chance at it.
I'll be back.
All right.
I was getting ready to send it
Love
to
you,
him,
Mina.
but I'll give him a minute. I'll get ready to send it. Thomas, I will say that if Coach Gundy was a coach at Georgia, then I would be putting in probably even some money in a sports book for ETN to be the Heisman winner because he probably run the ball.
Well,
1,000
ETN may
times
not
this
even
year.
play. ETN may not even play the first game of the season because he has a DUI charge
Drunk
on
driving.
him.
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
How did I know that was going to?
Ollie Gordon's going to
I
have
mean-
60 carries the first game, Gundy said. So.
Well, I mean,
You could say that about any of Georgia's starters. It's like they may not play the first game. They may have a
Yeah.
drunk driver.
Well, not was it Raw Smith, the one that had the child abuse case? He got kicked off the team.
I think Vin Diesel offered a
what
contract
it
to
takes.
each one of them to star in the next Fast and the Furious movie. So,
Wow.
That'd be interesting.
right.
Thomas, what do you have?
All right, I got Penn State, Oregon, Texas, Bama. This is in no order. Ole Miss, Notre Dame. It gets FSU, Michigan, and then I'm going to throw in USC as a dark horse. It gets tough to round out that final 12. I mean, I guess I'll have Boise State winning the. I don't know. They're going to lose the first round. Whoever wins out of that non-Power 5, but so I'm going to take USC. I'm going to go ahead and make my Heisman prediction as Miller Moss out of USC. I think Lincoln Riley, the quarterback whisperer, going to lead. I mean, all of this is dependent on him. If he has if they make it to the playoff, he's going to win the Heisman, I think, because that's what it's going to take to get them to the 12. So I think I'll probably throw USC in there, but it's going to be tough rounding out. I think Michigan. I think the more that comes out about this Harbaugh scandal and the everything, it just makes the NCAA look worse. They're not going to take away the championship, but I think every close call and every game is going to go to the other team. I think if they come down and they're in the 12 through 15 range, they're not going to make the playoff. I think there's a lot working against Michigan. So I think I'm going to have Michigan missing the top 12. My top 4, I probably got, and this is, I mean, injuries and strength of schedule. There may end up being a lot of ACC teams in there because their schedules aren't as hard as the SEC and Big Ten. But I think my top 4, I'd probably go Georgia, Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon. 3 Big Ten schools in there. I'll give it to Georgia for my friend Rusty. I think they're returning just enough. Out of those 4 I mentioned, he's probably the most proven coach. He's been there before. Some of the players have been there before. So yeah, I'll go Georgia winning it all, beating Penn State.
I think that Miller Moss was a good pick too. I think that he was almost my dark horse pick.
Well, I like the accuracy quarterbacks. Being a Joe Burrow fan.
Yeah. By the way, we had a Coach Rhodes on last week, from East Side, and he's from Louisiana, and he's a big LSU fan. And Jamar asked him his top 3 LSU picks, and Burrow wasn't in there, but it was more because it was just kind of too easy of a pick. So, but I can't remember the ones he even listed. But you could tell he was a hardcore LSU fan. He knew a lot more than I did about him.
Did he have Jamarcus Russell?
No, he had Kevin Falk. Do you remember the other two more? I can't remember the other two off the top of my head. I can't.
Wasn't the Honey Badger one of them?
Yeah. The Honey Badger is one.
Was he one of them?
I think he was. Yeah, maybe. I think he was.
I don't know. It seemed like people I'd never heard of. Like, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Thought I heard him say the Honey Badger, but
I was going to go to you next, more before you had left, because I wanted you right after Rusty's comments about the dark horse.
I'm not talking. I'm not talking about it.
It's your turn.
I got. Do we already see? I don't even remember who I put in my top 4, but I'll just go down. I got Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Florida State. I think it was my top. In Texas, I think that was my top 5. So after that, I got Utah getting in, or maybe I had Utah winning, so maybe they were in already. I can't remember what order I had these in, but I think Liberty gets in the whatever that we're calling that now, the little sister teams that they got to get a charity pick.
The Make-A-Wish Foundation, I think is what it's called.
Well, I mean, they got some good teams coming in every year, and I get got to have a spot in there. But what if one of those teams? What if none of them win more than 10 games? Like, we're still giving somebody a shot. Like, what are we doing? Like, they should have to have like only 1 or 2. There should be some kind of requirement from those schools to get into this. It shouldn't be we're letting you in just to let you in. I mean,
have them also be in the top 12 as well as win their conference, or at least be close.
I mean, it's probably not going to happen. But what if one year all those teams are terrible and they got like 3 conference losses, but they win a conference, or something crazy happens? Like, they shouldn't be in it. But I get it. You have to put them in there with 12 teams. I have Alabama getting in still. Clemson still making it. Oklahoma State coming out of the Big 12. I have Notre Dame, and I have Virginia Tech in, obviously, as a fan. Like, I mean, I don't know that we'll be, like I said, I don't really want to talk about it. I don't want to jinx it. I think we'll be much, much, much better this year.
I think we should talk about it.
I don't know that we'll get, as consistent enough what we need to be to get there, but I got them in it anyway because, why not?
Do you have them swinging the Clemson game? I mean, they're going to have to swing, what, Clemson or Miami?
Clemson and Miami.
And Carolina.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, they're gonna. I didn't want to, like I said, I didn't really want to talk about jinx. They're going to win the ACC. I just didn't pick them because I didn't want to jinx it. But they're gonna get to the championship game, and they're gonna beat Florida State or Clemson, whoever. It don't matter. It's happening. So just leave me alone. No, I think they'll end up losing to somebody stupid that shouldn't, and then they'll beat somebody they shouldn't, and it'll be a really good bounce back. Get back right year. I hope. Obviously, this could be like way too much hype, and they could go 500. I don't think that's what it'll be. I don't know that they'll get to the ACC championship game. That'd be great, but I think if they do get there, they'll probably have to have some help from teams losing some games they shouldn't. I do think we beat somebody we shouldn't. Maybe Clemson, or I'm not even looked at the schedule yet, but I'm looking forward to a better year. Obviously, it's gonna be better than what it has been, or it could actually be worse, and all this could just be terrible. But I do have Drones as their quarterback as my dark horse Heisman pick, because if they do somehow win a bunch of these big games and knock off some people, and he has a great year, because if they have a great year, he's got to have a great year. They have a really good running back too, but it all starts with him. I have Travis Hunter possibly as a Heisman hopeful. I don't know if they'll be good enough for him to really get a lot of recognition, but as far as votes, but I have Gordon winning the Heisman. I didn't even realize it. I thought I was gonna have to ask y'all if he was actually be able to play, if he was suspended or whatever. But somebody else had picked him, so I guess he's back and he's good.
Oh yeah, Gundy said he wasn't going to suspend him. He was
Okay.
going to run him like 50 times the first
Well,
game.
that's why I like, like I said, Kirby Smart should take a page out of Gundy's playbook. But yeah, what I got. I guess I got Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, and Texas. And I know that's boring because I think that's the preseason top four. But I just don't. I'm kind of big on Texas just because of the quarterback play. I could just very well see them losing the SEC, so that's kind of a just a coin toss flip for me. But I'm gonna stick with them. Oregon, I think, will be really good. I think they get in the playoff. They'll be a tough, matchup. Georgia and Ohio State, I think, are probably the two best complete teams on both sides of the ball in all facets, coaching and everything, except for Ryan Day. He sucks. But I think his teams will be good enough to where, they'll make up for it. I can see Oregon and I can see it being Oregon and Georgia in the final instead of Ohio State. I just don't know how they'll be matched up in the semi. That'll be a big thing. I can see Oregon getting there, but I'm gonna go ahead and you know what? I'll take Oregon. I don't like picking Ohio State, so give me Georgia and Oregon.
Do you have Oregon winning it over Georgia?
Boy, I would like that to be the case, but no, I'd say I don't know. Yeah, sure. Give me the Ducks. I don't want to, but I don't like West Coast teams, but I don't know. I mean, Georgia's kind of,
But you just don't want to see Rusty happen.
Yeah, I mean, at some point we got, no, I think Georgia probably beats them, but I'll go on the record with Oregon just to be different.
Quack, quack. All right, John, what do you got?
My top four here. I feel like I did this an hour ago after listening to Rusty talk about Georgia. My top four was Georgia, Florida State, Oregon, Oklahoma State, and then 5 through 12 I've got Alabama, Ohio State, Utah, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Clemson, Penn State, and then my group of 5 is Appalachian State.
Yeah.
That's the one, baby.
They play Clemson week 2 in Clemson. They could win that game, in all honesty. My semifinals, I've got 2 rematches from the regular season here. Georgia versus Alabama, Oregon versus Ohio State. Then I thought I was being really original here, and I had Oregon and Georgia in the championship game. And I was like, man, I'll be the only one picking Oregon, but J-Mar kind of stole that. But yeah,
you can blame that on Cameron for coming to me before you. That was his fault.
I got Oregon beating Georgia. Phil Knight wants a championship before he dies. He's very old, like Joe Biden. And unlike Joe Biden, I think Phil Knight's dreams are going to come true.
There you go. Who do you have as the Heisman?
Love Joe Biden. He's a great guy. It's terrible what they did. My Heisman is Jalen Milroe. And my dark horse, Kyron Drones. I also had 2 dark horse playoff teams because I thought you asked me to do that.
I think I did, but then I kind of forgot to tell everybody.
One of them was Virginia Tech. I think they have a real shot. Not to jinx it.
I told you we're coming.
And then my other one, I love the way this team plays offense. It brings me back to a time I wasn't even alive. None of us were. I got the Iowa Hawkeyes. They have an easy schedule. And I believe they've discovered that you can throw the ball forward.
They play offense.
I was really hoping J-Mar was going to say I was alive during that, but
I was waiting on him to finish and ask what he was exactly what he said before I said that, but that was crossed my mind. I was going to say I think I was around for the beginning, but
yeah, they do have
punting is very important. You got to win field position.
Yeah, they if I'm not mistaken, they have more returning starters than they've had, I think, since the time they almost made the playoffs. I think like Desmond King was on that defense.
Probably since World War II when they last threw a Ford Pass.
Yeah. You know, for us not wanting to jinx Tech, I think half the panel here has put them as a surprise team. 2 of the 6 put Drones as a dark horse Heisman. So,
well, like you said about Iowa, Tech has a lot of returning starters as well.
Yeah.
So.
I'm the only one that doesn't want to jinx them. And they do have a really good D line quarterback, and I think it'll surprise people. But their secondary may not be as good as it needs to be. There's some holes there, obviously.
Do you think if I make 5 or 6 separate clips talking about Tech and putting on our socials, that I can help the jinxing process?
I hope so. God, Tech fans are the worst.
I mean, you know what? I think at this point, there's probably other probably worse things that's in line to jinx us than clips from us. But I actually feel better about my hope after hearing some of the picks from some of you all. I kind of thought I would be the only one really talking about them at all, but again, I'm a realist. I'm very realistic. I think realistically, it's not going to be like what some Tech fans that Logan is referring to. We're probably not going to run the table and win every game. We're probably not going to win the championship this year. We might not even make the playoffs, but I think we'll be much, much, much better than. And they got a good recruiting class coming in, so I think we're going in the right direction. So that's a win for me.
Logan, I know you picked the conference winners. Who do you have winning it all?
Oh, I've got my 5 through 12. I've been doing some research here the last couple of minutes.
Oh, and let me just say real quick.
Let's talk about it.
Talking about me, this man picked Carolina to win the ACC. So, and nobody else mentioned Carolina. So I'm not the only. Let's not act like I'm the guy that's like, all whatever out here in dream world.
I think we all kind of know that UNC is not going to win it though. So
I think we all know Tech's not going to win either. But
okay, don't.
Tech has a better chance.
Don't try and reverse the jinx now.
I didn't reverse it. I said, do I go? I'm a realist. We're probably not going to win it. I said probably, not definitely, but probably.
So we good now? You feel better?
I just want to point that out. It went under the radar. I think somebody maybe some faces when you said that, but nobody really said anything.
That's why I said.
I think you said just kidding after.
So I don't remember who I said was my top 4. I know Carolina was in there because they're really good. But then I've got Bama, Texas, Ole Miss, FSU, Notre Dame, Oregon, LSU, and the home of Eric Church, Appalachian State, as my make-a-wish pick. Win it all. Ohio State's on paper. Ohio State won't be beat. Great recruiting class. They got a lot of transfers. I don't know. I heard Ryan Day got fired like 2 years ago for not beating Michigan, but I'm not really can't confirm that
this year.
Well, okay, so this year Ryan Day's getting fired when he don't beat Michigan. Okay, cool. But yeah, I think it's Ohio State. Heisman, I've got Milroe, just because like he was top 3, 4 last year. He's the only returning player in college football that was in the top 10 last year. And basically, I've not really looked into it because college football is a mess now with all the conference changes and the transfer portal, which I'm fine with. I don't want boomers to think I'm on their side here. I think NIL's cool. But yeah, I don't have a dark horse. I'm not gonna make that joke. I don't have a dark horse. Like I said, it's a mess. I don't really care, honestly. Carolina's terrible, and when your team's not good, it just can't be that fun. I'll get back to y'all whenever we do our mid-season podcast about it. Yeah, I'll have some better insight for you when I really know what's going on.
Alrighty. Well, we'll try to jump real quick. I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but we'll try to jump real quick into the NFL. We'll just do the winners. We won't break down every single team in the division or anything like that. But I guess we can go ahead and start, Logan, with the Panthers division. Who do you have in that?
Get the worst out of the way first. All right, cool. As much as I hate to say it, I've got the Dirty Birds winning the division. That Hope Garrett Horn don't hear this. I'm sure he won't, but
I think he does listen to him.
well, I can't handle that. Yeah, I think they had just there's no excuse for them not to win the division. They have so much talent on offense. They've got a really good defense. Raheem Morris, I think, is a really good coach. And then their offensive coordinator is from the McVay tree. So someone from the McVay tree with all those weapons, in theory, should score a lot of points. And you have to score points to win. That's something I picked up on the last 5 years watching the Panthers play. Is when you don't score points, you don't win. That's not fun. But yeah, I think they're going to win. The Panthers are probably going to finish last. Like I said, we're all in for Travis Hunter. Him and J.C. Horn are just going to lock down everybody after next year on defense. Maybe Travis needs to play offense. Who knows? But no Shadur Sanders. I'm good on that.
Quinn Ewers.
We'll talk about it. Give me. Like I said, mid-season podcast. We'll talk about it. The Bucks. I don't really know about the Bucks. Like, is Baker really good, or was it Dave Canales? Who knows? Yeah. Quarterback whisperer. And the Saints have Derek Carr and their loser head coach, whatever his name is now, that he's not won anywhere he's ever been. Yeah.
What's his name?
He's terrible.
I just watched him the other day. I can't remember.
Yeah, whatever. I can't. Yeah. That's how irrelevant he is. He's a division rival, and I don't even know his name. But he stinks. So yeah, I've got to go with the Dirty Birds winning the South.
Who do you have? Well, J-Moore, you going to say something?
No, I was just go ahead, Rusty Thomas, John, somebody, don't matter.
I was going to send to John up there.
Well, like Rusty or like Logan said.
Whoa, now.
Somebody sound that horn. Here we go.
No,
here we go.
Start over.
Like Logan.
Like
said,
clip that.
You clip that, I'll kill you.
Yeah. 1 hour 21 in, clip it.
Okay.
The NFC South's really bad. I feel like the NFC as a whole is not very good, honestly. I had a hard time coming up with 3 wild cards. But for the South, the Dirty South, I also had the Falcons. They'll probably go like 9-8 and win the division. So,
are we picking wild card winners too? Or just the division winners? Okay.
I'm just going to do the division. Probably
So that way
we can just
okay.
Yeah, that way we can just try to speed it up. So we'll just do division winners, and then we'll just say who we have in the Super Bowl. I feel like that'd probably be the quickest. I have the Falcons as well. I think Kirk Cousins is due to come back at some point. And then they drafted a quarterback too, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember who they drafted. Penix, yeah.
Top 10 pick.
So, yeah, and they got Simmons the other day, and they had Bates, 2 great safeties. Yeah, that division is just such a crapshoot right now, and it really sucks because it's kind of just there for the taking if a team could put it all together.
It'd be nice if the Panthers would put it all together.
Yeah, I mean, the Panthers, if they, had some of the weapons. But, yeah, I mean, I have the Falcons. Who do you have, Rusty?
I've got the Bucks. Why, I don't really know. The Falcons, I guess, should be right there. The Bucks, I mean, it's a toss-up. That y'all are right. That division sucks, especially the Panthers. But I'm just going to go with the Bucks. I kind of feel sorry for Baker Mayfield after we came back and beat him in the Rose Bowl, like 6 years ago. Oh my God. So, yeah.
We moved on to NFL, but we got to get a Georgia reference in still.
Nobody cares, Rusty.
It's fine. I care. That's all I care.
I bet he picks the Eagles and win it all.
The least important opinion on all 6 boxes here.
Thomas,
Eagles may be up there.
Yeah, I'm going with the Falcons. That's enough on the worst division in football. Let's move on.
J-Moore's got to be.
Yeah, Dirty Birds I'm good. I'm good with Falcons.
Okay, before we move on, I got a couple things to get off my chest.
Okay, go ahead.
Since we're talking about the
Floor is
dirty
yours.
South and all that, yeah, okay. I have never, in all of my days, been so disconnected from this football team. I told Jamar this like 2 weeks ago. Like, I literally did not even know we had a preseason game until the day of the game.
But
Now, I'm getting there.
what'd you?
I'm getting
Go
there.
ahead, tell me.
And it doesn't make sense. We picked the coach that I wanted, that I said before he was even a name that was listed. We've added some talent. We lost some talent, but, we've also added some talent. And I just don't care. That's what being in the dumpster for 5 straight years will do to you. That's what he who will not be named on this podcast will do for you.
Do you think that who's more to blame? The he that you're not naming or the owner at this point?
I mean, Dave Tepper's a joke. Like, he's worried about his concerts. Like, I'm glad that Garth Brooks came and played in Bank of America Stadium, but I wasn't there, and I really don't like Garth Brooks. I think he's kind of overrated. This is a football team. I'm glad you bought us. Like, I'm glad you made a soccer team, but I really don't care about the soccer team either because soccer's dumb. But yes, to Jamar's point, I did not know we had a game until, the day of the game. The game was televised on NFL Network. And I sat down and I watched the entire preseason game. I watched Jack Plummer have like a 30% completion percentage. I watched us just not move the ball. I was miserable for like 3.5, 4 hours. And you know what? I loved every second of it. I hate the NFL so much because there is not a better drug than hope. And the NFL sells hope better than anything in the world. It is so dumb.
I heard heroin was pretty good, but I can't speak to.
Well, you know what Dave Chappelle said about cocaine, don't you?
I've heard it, but I can't remember what the.
Well, there is one in our podcast that is an enemy of hope because 2 years ago he could have had hope and maybe the Dolphins would have made it to the Super Bowl, but instead he wanted to not even be in the playoffs.
Well,
not that
okay,
we're still dragging
so
that on.
This feeling that Logan is having right now, I only had that for like the majority of my lifetime with the Dolphins because every quarterback was trash, right? So, yeah.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
Well, let's just stick with that right quick. Who you got winning that division?
Believe it or not, I got the Jets.
You're not even gonna pick your team.
No, I don't believe that. You're right.
I don't think the Dolphins will win the division. I think they'll get a wild card. I think they'll be in the playoffs. I think they get the wild card. I think the Jets win the division in the East.
Okay. Cam, who you got?
I have the Jets too, which it's all pending, of course, if Rodgers is healthy. I think somebody had said it the other day on ESPN or something, but it's kind of comparable to Peyton Manning's year in Denver when they won the Super Bowl. Their defense was just loaded. Peyton was kind of towards the end. He did enough. I mean, he was still a good starting quarterback, but he put prime Peyton, just like Rodgers might not be prime Rodgers, but will still be good enough to at least win the division. I think he'll probably be slightly better, but I have the Jets winning. Thomas, what do you got?
I'm a little bit tired of the Jets hype. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like everybody's picking the Jets to be in like the top 4 teams.
Practices last week, just so y'all know.
As I don't know. I don't know.
Might win.
I don't think
we might win the South. I don't know.
We talking about practice?
I don't think they're ready. Yeah, the Bills are going to be down this year. I think. I'm not sure where Josh Allen's going to throw the ball, but so I'm going to go. I guess I'll be the Dolphins fan in the group. Take the Dolphins here. I think they got a good path. If you don't have a lot of faith in the Jets, like I do.
Did the Bills get rid of Gabe Davis as well?
want to say Gabe Davis.
He went to Jacksonville, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of who he threw it to, right? I mean, they didn't throw it to Diggs that much. That's why he wanted it out.
They couldn't throw it to Diggs. Diggs is still standing there watching the Chiefs celebrate.
Yeah, he hasn't moved yet.
Give him time.
Yeah. J-Mar, who do you have in the AFCs?
I'm a huge Aaron Rodgers fan, so I'm going with Jets. And the only difference is, well, not the only difference, but Aaron Rodgers is much, much, much healthier at this point in his career when he went than Peyton was. Peyton's neck was basically tied on, and he was a shell of him former self, and the defense won that championship for him. He could throw for first downs, he could direct offense, but if he threw it past 10 yards, it looked like a duck because his hands were numb. Aaron Rodgers is in good health. If his foot's fine, which I think it is, because he probably could have come back last year if they'd have played in the playoffs. I think he's healthy. I think that's a little different situation. I think that team is built for like a good run. I think obviously you got to avoid certain things throughout the year, but I pick the Jets, I guess.
John, I haven't asked you. No, John, who do you have for the AFCs?
I too like Aaron Rodgers. I think he's in great health, largely because of his medical beliefs and his close relationship with RFK Jr. But I'm gonna pick the Dolphins. As much as I like Aaron Rodgers, I like Mike McDaniel more. I think he's a very cool guy. I like the Dolphins. I like Tua. Tyreek, he really gets around in a lot of ways. Very fast guy, apparently, in a lot of ways too. So I'll take the Dolphins.
Aaron Rodgers turned down a chance to run as a presidential as a VP to play football this season. So I think he's pretty focused on football. So I think that means something.
You're serious.
Yeah, definitely. Logan, who do you have for the AFCs?
I have the Miami Dolphins. Mostly because the regular season is played in warm temperature weather. I do think Aaron Rodgers is good, and like his crazy, recovery and everything that he does with his shrooms and in Egypt or wherever it is, whatever. I don't know what the dude does on his own time. You just see stuff, and I don't know. You can't believe everything you see on the internet.
Let me tell you what he does, it's very well documented if you listen to enough crazy podcasts.
Yeah. Anyways, like I said, I've got the Dolphins. They have so much talent. They added another really fast running back. Mike McDaniels is the only person that looks better in joggers than Phil Mickelson. So, I mean, I think you've got to go to the Dolphins.
So, like 1, 2, 3, maybe at least 3 of us pick the Dolphins, or not us, but out of the 6 of us, but the one Dolphins fan on here. What are you just trying to not jinx it? What's the deal here? Like, what's going on?
He doesn't have.
Not jinx it's one reason. I think we lost a lot on defense, injury, plus I thought our defense last year struggled really hard up until midway through the season. Then Fangio got everything run smooth. He left. We lost defensive player after defensive player, and then offensively we didn't do a whole lot to beef up our line. Yeah, we're fast.
You lost Robert Hunt.
But I mean we got a couple of key pieces, but I don't know. I don't want to jinx it, but we've got to get some offensive linemen because Tua can get the ball out in like 0.9 seconds, but eventually that's not going to work. Defensive strategy is going to get better against us. So I'm hoping we win it, but I'm just not going to jinx it.
So let's tell the truth now, Rusty. You're still a little mad at Tua for what he did to you back in the day.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah, after you beat Baker.
Yeah, after we beat Baker. Worked so hard to beat Baker, and then,
I had a really fun night that night.
That's why I wouldn't. But
that way.
That's why I wouldn't trust the Dolphins is because of Tua, but wouldn't have nothing to do with anything else.
I think Tua, when healthy, is a pretty good quarterback in Mike's system. I think he was, number one in the whole league in passing yards when he was healthy. So I think, like I said, just him being healthy. But I have noticed that we're apparently a very superstitious podcast on here.
We're not superstitious, but
just a little stitious.
We are a little
yeah,
stitious.
just a little
stitious.
Yeah. Nobody's wanting to have any bold takes, are they? No.
Where do you want to go next?
I figured hop back to the NFC since we're kind of going back and forth. I can go ahead and start out. We'll go to the NFC North. I think there's a lot of hype, kind of like Thomas mentioned about the Jets, but I think there's kind of that same hype with the Packers because they did show up last year and do pretty good. But I see them taking a step back a little bit after losing Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones kind of fit their system better than Jacobs will. I have Detroit winning it again. I think Campbell's a great coach, a great system there. I do think the Vikings could sneak up on some people. If there was like a dark horse team this year, I think they could be it. I like their coach and the way he can call plays. I think they have Darnold. Who's the other? Sam Howell, the other UNC quarterback. I didn't think they got a third, the Michigan quarterback, McCarthy. I think he got hurt, though. But nevertheless, I think that's an offensive system that just needs a strong arm back there. I think they could do some stuff. They got Aaron Jones there. They got Addison and JJ. And they got some talent on defense, too. So I think they could be a surprise team. The Bears, I will say, the Bears will not do great this year. But I think for a Bears fan, I think if you was a Bears fan in the same position that you're in, Logan, having to kind of dread a season, but for the Bears, they might not win a lot, but there is some things to watch that could be exciting. Like their offense has talent. Yeah, I know it's not the exact same boat.
No, go
Panthers. But I did want to mention the Bears also because when we put this out on Facebook asking for anybody to have comments and stuff about things we could talk about tonight, we did have shout out Misty Norris brought up the Bears, so I did want to talk about them. And so I do think that they could be fun to watch. I don't think they're going to win a lot of games. I think that the defense has to kind of step up a little bit, maybe the O-line, but they have weapons. I mean, if a rookie quarterback comes into having Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, and Keenan Allen, I mean, is that maybe the best group of receivers any rookie quarterback has had that I can remember?
That DJ Moore guy's pretty good. I'd like to have him on my team.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But yeah, I have Detroit. Go ahead, I'll kick it to you, Logan, since you're already reminiscing.
Anyways, no, I don't want it to sound like I'm not super excited because I mean we're for sure winning the South. Like we're going to win like 12 games probably. Whatever. The North, I have the Packers. I think Jordan Love's really good, and I realize that Aaron Jones leaving really hurts him as far as just that safety valve to dump it off to. But let's not forget how good Josh Jacobs is either. Like you're replacing one really good guy with another really good guy. Their defense, I thought it was fine last year, and I think the Lions are going to take a step back. The Vikings have Sam Darnold starting at quarterback. I've seen that firsthand. The Vikings don't have a shot. And I'm not gonna speak on Caleb Williams. I don't feel like this is the place to do that on a public platform. So we'll just say I don't. I mean they have the skill players for sure.
Is he a little too zesty, you think, or what?
I'm not speaking on Caleb Williams. I just don't know that maybe. I don't know. I just think maybe his priorities are in his fingernail polish line and his skirts instead of maybe the football field. I don't know. We'll see.
So you had Packers, right?
Go Pack, go.
Who do you have, Jamor?
I don't really know who to pick between the Lions and the Packers. I think the Lions probably take. I think they lost a couple people, but the Packers added. I don't know. For some reason, I still just feel like the Lions are the team to beat. Until for whatever, I can't really break down why on paper. I guess I love that coach, and I almost do feel like they were leading up and building up, and then once they got to that, I don't know how well they'll sustain it and stay there. There's a difference in showing up and then staying there after you get there. But I'll pick them one more year, see what happens, and but it's a coin toss. It's like 49, 51%. I'm not sure who, but I'll go Lions.
What about you, John?
I will take the Packers.
My man.
I think the Lions are good. I still think they'll be in the playoffs, but I would agree with Jamar. They'll take a step back. Packers nearly beat your Niners in the playoffs. I was surprised by how good Jordan Love was. So I think they'll move up, win the division. And for Caleb Williams, it's really good that the DNC's in Chicago. I'm sure he's fitting right in right now.
Rusty, who you?
I got the Lions. I really like Dan Campbell. I think Jared Goff does really good in that system. Other than that, I don't really have a whole lot. Packers are really good too. I don't really like Caleb Williams. Yeah, that's all I got.
Not a Caleb Williams podcast.
Wow, that's the quickest
Noted.
answer you had all night.
Yeah. No Georgia players.
I was going to say they must not have anybody playing
No,
from Georgia playing on their team.
Wait till we get to the Eagles.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Oh, I'm sure, Rusty.
Yeah, we'll skip that.
We can just not do the NFC East.
I agree with that.
Thomas, who do you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Lions. A couple points. I think I'm still holding on to Sam Darnold is talented, and I think this is the first year that he's gotten a chance, to show himself. He's got weapons and he's got decent coaching, decent team. I think we could see actually decent Sam Darnold. I also want to say maybe it's the New England getting to me, but I like Caleb Williams. I think I don't know. He showed some flashes in that Bengals preseason game that I was watching. It was against our second and third string defense, but I think he's more accurate than I realized, and he can scramble. I think looking at the Bears either this year, more likely next year, but possibly this year is kind of like the 21 Bengals team where nobody sees them coming. They're loaded with talent, a lot of young guys, and could shock some people because their defense is stout. Caleb Williams has a lot of talent, wide receivers obviously, but I don't dislike the Bears in this division. I like them a lot.
I was going to say earlier, Cam, you said you didn't think I think they'll actually win probably more games than what people expect them to. You don't have to worry about the DNC. The Bears are actually playing in Kansas City this week, so he'll miss some of it. But if I was the Bears, I worry more about his off season than I would his in season. That's going to be kind of interesting, especially if they have a good year. But I think he's very good too. I'm watching Hard Knocks, and what I know Hard Knocks is not like a good judge of like what a team's going to be, but they are kind of loaded, like under the radar loaded in places. I think running back's going to be maybe the weakest position, but I think they could be pretty good. I don't think they'll be the worst team in the NFL this year.
No. I think there's a certain team that might have that.
Real quick, Thomas, I think you said it might be the New England getting to you. You like him? I think he's very anti-New England.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Especially after the Red Sox game.
There's a guy from Red Sox got a standing ovation there night when he came back.
All right, I'm talking a different New England. I'm talking Maine. New England. Maine is a different kind.
Gotcha.
You got that Bernie Sanders vote.
Feel the
Yeah,
burn,
Vermont.
baby.
I'm talking for Vermont and Maine. New England that's the Caleb Williams type.
Well,
You got a standing
All right,
I
Cameron,
think
your
we'll
turn.
go
ahead.
here to the AFC South. I think we can try to talk about the Indianapolis Colts.
Wow.
I think the Colts could be better this year. But I don't have them winning the division. I have Texans. What about you, Timor?
I hope it's not copyrighted. We'll get kicked off of YouTube.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
No, I'm
probably.
taking the Colts. I think the Texans are going to have I think he's going to have a sophomore slump. I think there'll be film on him now. I know they improved like even more and added and got all these pieces around him, but going to have to see a second year from him. Pressure's going to be on them obviously this year. I think everybody got better in that division. I think Jacksonville added some pieces. I think we did. Titans might be probably the team that didn't get any better. I think they actually probably got worse. But yeah, I think Richardson stays healthy. I don't see any reason we can't win it. I mean, we almost made the daggone should have made the playoffs last year with Minshew. I mean, they Texans barely got in over us. I mean, it's not like we were a bunch of games back. Like we had every chance, every reason in the world to win that, and we just couldn't make the plays we had to. And that was with JT missing 3 games, start the season out of 4. So I know they got holes in certain big places, and their edge rushers and stuff like that are not very deep, and now it's an injury, but their interior D line is very, very good. Got good young linebackers. They're very good. I mean, I don't have any worries. I'm very. And I'm not just saying this like because of my team. I'm very confident that we could win the division. Again, I could also see us lose. I mean, I think most people are going to put the Texans ahead of us, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if we won that division.
Well, I mean, as long as you don't have to play the Bengals every week with their lockdown corners, I think you should be all right.
I'm not worried about that. I mean, you know what, boys? Preseason, they run their
I'm not worried about
mouths.
that.
We probably didn't have anybody out there. We're not going to stop them, but we're just going to hand the ball off. We're going to run option. We're going to run high school option football is what we're going to do.
There you go. Speaking of a fan of some running the ball, John, I see you got your gear on. So what do you think about
Mariah
this
Carey outfit change there?
It was.
I am a fan of the Jaguars, but I feel like over the last 2 years, last year, every other team in that division had a rookie quarterback. Stroud obviously was great. Richardson was really good before he got hurt, and then there was Will Levis. I mean, he was okay, I guess. But I think the Texans are not going to live up to expectations. But the AFC South is slightly better than the NFC South. I mean, I guess there are like 2 legit playoff teams in the AFC South, possibly. But I also go with the Texans. I think the Colts are pretty good. I did have them as a wild card before I remembered that Aaron Rodgers was on the Jets. So I'll go with the Texans. Colts second, and my Jags third.
Wow.
Now you did that uniform change to put your team in third.
Yeah, that was really anticlimactic. I wouldn't have done all that if you weren't going to pick them. I don't think I'd have went to that trouble. That was very surprising to me. I was not expecting that. I was expecting you to give like a Duval, like and all that.
I think that Trevor Lawrence has been underwhelming thus far. I feel like he's not really lived up to the hype. He could take a big step forward. Obviously, we have the other Josh Allen who changed his name this year, and I think losing Calvin Ridley probably is not that big of a deal because we did bring in some good receivers, especially the kid from LSU. So, maybe 3 teams from the AFC South make the playoffs, but probably not.
What do you have, Thomas?
Yeah, this is a tough division. There are 3 teams that I'm tired of the hype and tired of hearing about, and the Texans are number 1 on that list, with the Jets and Packers. But I don't know. Like, everybody just decided C.J. Stroud was like a top 3 quarterback all of a sudden. I don't think he's going to be that this year. Usually quarterbacks, defenses figure quarterbacks out a little bit their second year, but so I'm going to go with the Colts too. I think if they can get some continuity on offense, get some good. If they prove that they can be a threat in the passing game, I think the Colts will have enough to win that division. I think it's going to be a tight division though between the Jags and Texans and Colts, but I'm going to go with the Colts here.
Good boy.
Yeah, the Texans, I didn't really defend my pick. I'm not going to sit here and take any time on it, but I think they got a great coach. Came from the Niners. And they got a lot of weapons with Diggs, and the running back, he really packs a punch. So I think they could be pretty decent on offense. So, so Rusty, who do you have?
I've got the Texans. I think they're going to be just as good, if not better, this year. I really like C.J. Stroud. I think
That's not his name.
Stroud.
We've all said it.
I've said it
Stroud,
like that
Stroud and
so much.
Stroud.
C.J. Stroud.
He's a toaster strudel.
Yeah, he's a toaster strudel. I think he's really good, and I don't think he's gonna drop off this year. I don't think he's gonna be like MVP or anything like that, but I think he's gonna be just as good this year as he was last year, and they brought in a lot of key pieces for him. So I think they'll win that division.
We'll jump back over here real quick to the. So I guess we're back
I
in the
didn't want
NFC.
to go. It's fine. Ain't no big deal.
Oh, go ahead, Logan.
Nobody
you
cares
left.
about
I
him.
forgot. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead. I don't need to talk.
I want to hear you talk. Go ahead.
Oh, you know.
I'm going with the Texans. I think C.J. Stroud is really good. I wish my team had the opportunity to pick him last year. I think that'd been really cool. And then adding Diggs, if Diggs can literally, like, if Diggs just stops looking at the Chiefs celebrating, like, he's really good when he's not doing that. And then Mixon is also really good. That's gonna really add to that backfield. And then, yeah, like you said, great coach. He's just a football guy, it feels like. Also would have liked to have the opportunity to hire him last year too. But yeah, the Texans are. Yeah, I think they're gonna win it. I do think the Colts will be pretty good if Richards can stay healthy. I mean, I've seen it firsthand. A guy like that physical specimen that can take the ball and just do whatever he wants to with it in the running game. That's really fun to watch. And you feel like you always have a chance with a guy like that. You know, he can. And Richards, it's not like he can't throw the ball. You know, I'm not a Bengals defensive back, but like it seems to me like he can like throw the ball a little bit at least. So I do think they will be better for sure than they were without him. But I'm still going to go with the Texans.
I think another thing I was going to mention, like the schedule, with them winning the division last year, as tight as it was last year and could be this year, them playing the teams that come in first in divisions last year, when they match up, could be a difference in a couple games that we could take advantage of. That doesn't always help out as much, but it could come into play. They maybe have a little tougher schedule than we do.
Yeah, I think the AFC South right there with probably the AFC North is probably the best divisions. I mean, as far as 1 through 4, I mean, could honestly have like a good year and win. Like you could probably go with any of the 4 and say you make an argument for them.
I don't think you can make an argument for the Titans this year.
No, absolutely not.
See, but they're always
The Titans made some interesting moves this offseason. I'm not gonna say good moves, but they were interesting moves.
Yeah.
I mean, Vrabel's gone, Henry's gone. The only thing they did this year was get more mayonnaise put into their building. I don't understand what
Hey, they got
Mayonnaise
Tyler Boyd.
Coleman. Yeah, I mean, I think that they shouldn't be there. They would probably be your preseason bottom of the division team. But they seem to always be competitive. I don't know why. It's just
I
something
think a lot
about
of
them.
that was Vrabel.
I think
and
a lot of
he's
that
not
was
Yeah.
there.
Vrabel, yeah.
Vrabel and then Henry, Derrick Henry was there. They had all these people. Like, I mean, you could be right. I just don't see it. I think.
You're not right, but you could be.
I still think the
theory,
division.
You're right, Cameron.
Yeah.
It's a good division. That was the point.
Yeah, that was the point. Yeah.
Well, you said that you can make an argument for any team in that division winning it, and I just don't think you can make a good argument.
Okay, that might be. Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give it to you. I guess AFC North takes
top
it.
10.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll hop back to the
I'm sorry,
NFC.
I challenged one of your.
No, you made
challenge you there on that.
You was right.
That'll be sorry. You're right.
NFC East. We'll get to Rusty's favorite division.
Here we go. No, just let him go first and get out of the way.
Yeah. Well, we don't have. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Just get it out of the way.
We're running out of time.
Do your filibuster.
I got the Eagles. They've got.
All right, next.
We know your shirt says it all. We know why you picked them.
And they do have majority of the last 4 years of the Georgia's team. So, but I think adding Saquon, I think if he stays healthy, I think that makes their offense even better. And I don't know about their defense, their secondary, but I think they'll be the winner of that division, and I think they'll be in the NFC Championship. So,
I have the Eagles as well. I do think that the Commanders will have a better product put on the field this year. They've made a few additions in the offseason. They got Jaden Daniels now. Kind of one of those teams again that probably not going to win a whole lot, but at least it'll be something for the fans to watch week in and week out.
Okay, it's 11:24. Let's not talk about Washington, please. I don't mean to be that way, but it is. I gotta go to bed, and I don't want to hear about the daggone Redskins, Commanders, whatever.
That's all I was going to say.
How about raise your hand if you're not picking the Eagles? All right, everybody got the Eagles.
Saquon, I mean, adding Saquon to that offense, that's just not fair. Like, he's, that's kind of like the Niners added McCaffrey. Like, running backs are a dime a dozen, and they should all make federal minimum wage. But when you put a guy like that in that kind of system, that's just not okay.
Yeah.
Well,
sorry, I didn't mean to be like a rude about it, but
you're right.
It's 11:20. Yeah, it's getting late, and yeah.
By host decision, we're going to go to the next division, the AFC West.
Are we all on board here too? We're just going to
go out on a limb, Cameron.
We can let Cameron talk. If we're all in agreement, let's just let Cameron talk about them real quick here. And
no, I mean I think that we all probably pick Kansas City. I don't know if anybody's going to have a. I mean, like I said in the group, and I said last year. Last year was the year that we or anybody had the best chance to beat them because they didn't have that many weapons. Travis Kelce didn't decide to be Travis Kelce until the playoffs, but now they got weapons, so they should be.
I thought you said NFC East. That's my bad.
AFC West.
Yeah, that's my fault. That's why I said
NFC East was the last one.
Yeah, that's why I thought you said NFC West.
Oh, okay.
And I was gonna say that's why I said let you talk about them. I thought you were going to the Niners spiel. That's my bad.
No, well, I mean AFC West. So everybody got Kansas City. Anybody got any objections?
What's the quarterback for the Chargers? What's his name?
Herbert.
Is he healthy? Is he playing or is he hurt?
No, he's got that plantar fascia.
Yeah. If he was healthy, I'd almost go out on a limb, but I'm not doing it without him being healthy.
He's got nobody to throw it to.
Yeah.
Less than any other quarterback.
He's got Harbaugh. So
he's going to cheat his way to.
I'm just kidding. No, I forgot about him losing. I forgot about him losing now, and yeah, that's probably never mind. That was a bad limb. That was a thin branch.
He lost Mike Williams too, right?
Oh, did he really? Yeah, see, never mind. That's no wonder he has whatever it is. He's faking that.
Yeah, they'll just run the ball too, right?
Yeah, Eckler's gone. He's with Washington.
Yeah.
Jesus, did they get anything for all this?
No.
That's terrible. That terrible timing there was.
Yeah. Okay, well,
I'm just gonna say it real quick. I wouldn't be surprised a week 2 upset in Los Angeles.
You playing as the Panthers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are the Broncos right now? They don't have.
No, they're terrible.
Okay.
Yeah, Bo
Yeah,
Nix
bad.
Next,
and new
Bo Nix
uniforms.
looks good. He looks good in preseason.
Got some. I like their uniforms they got.
No.
The new ones.
I think
Everything
they look
Broncos
stupid.
related sucks.
Bad
Okay,
color
yes.
scheme.
Yeah. Kansas City in that one. Only one more division left in the NFC, and that's the NFC West. I've got the Niners, so
Go ahead, talk about them. Let's hear it.
I ain't gonna waste everybody's
everybody
time.
else,
I mean,
everybody else has. Go ahead. Talk about your team.
It's it's just we got the same roster back pretty much.
They were
Maybe
really good last year.
Yeah, maybe minus 2 people, which I think Trent Williams will be back. There's no concern there. He ain't gonna leave and go to a team that might not be a Super Bowl contender at this point in his career. But we don't know what we're gonna get with BA yet, if he's gonna get signed. Right now, the rumor is they're in the end stages of negotiations. I think the last year of the contract is the only hiccup. I think we did end up giving him $30 million per year is the rumor. Probably some things here and there that make it a little bit more favorable for us. I will say that the only other trade that's on the table is to the Steelers, and from what I've heard, Fitzpatrick would possibly be the trade, which is appealing. Just to have him at safety beside Huff when he gets back, plus everything else we have on the defense, because the safety position is probably our weak point right now with Youth and Huff. Like I said, still coming back from the injury. But we have everything else. I think that we should be up there. I mean, there's no reason for us not to be up there. So we'll just see. Like I said, it's just contracts and injuries. That's our 2 biggest enemies. And the Super Bowl. That's the biggest enemy. So we'll see if we get there. I'm still blessed that we even get there. So like Logan said, yeah, it's being in the dumpster sucks. I was not real. I was outside the dumpster for a few years, like with Garcia and Mike Singletary days. Then I got lucky with Harbaugh coming through, but then Tom Zula, we were kind of dipping our toes in the dumpster a little bit there. And then we had that one year that we had everybody get hurt and we got Bosa. So I've been fortunate that we've been competing every year. I can't sit here and say that I've had a whole year where I'm just not interested or anything. But yeah, we should be back here. We'll just see.
What did you say was the biggest weakness of your team? Safety?
Probably safety right now, just because Huff's out. We don't have Gibson anymore. We have Jair Brown, second-year guy from Penn State, and the other safety position's kind of just up in the air. Don't know what we're gonna have. We have a guy named Mustafa or something. That's like a rookie that. Yeah, he looks like Cam Chancellor.
Thought he died in the first movie.
Yeah, he's reborn.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
He might be. Yeah. I don't know. I think he might end up taking that other safety position. I don't know. That's we thought we were gonna get Simmons, but I think that BA's complications.
There. That's crazy.
Yeah. But
see, I would argue that the weakest link of your team is your medical staff, but I also have the 49ers. Best coach in the league, talent all over the field. That McCaffrey guy, he's pretty good at football. It'd be nice to have him on your football team too.
I heard that you talked about Richardson looking bad in the Bengals joint practice. I heard Purdy looked like trash last week in the preseason game. So are you getting concerned there, or are you just blocking all that out?
No concern. We also didn't have
video today or yesterday one that he's got him. He's shaking in his grandpa boots. I'll just say that.
I'm not worried about Purdy at all. I watched that game, and now he does concern me a little bit because of the O-line, but we didn't have Trent, and we didn't have we had another starter out on the O-line, but we didn't have anybody else. Like nobody else played. No Debo, no Kittle, no Purcell, no Juwan Jennings, of course, no BA.
We'll name the whole roster off.
Yeah, none of them played.
What do y'all think
and
about that? We'll talk about it in a minute.
Well, I was going to say, and Logan said best coach in the league, Kyle Shanahan. He hasn't been calling plays during the preseason. Kubiak has been playing or calling the plays.
Gary,
Is he the best coach in the league?
Yes.
McVay's got a Super Bowl.
He came from the Shanahan tree.
But don't mean he's the best coach in the league. It means he might at one time have been. I'm not saying he's better or not. I'm just saying, does the Super Bowl put him over top of
every single year?
I know
this team is decimated by injuries.
I mean, Harbaugh. I mean,
every single year they find a way to be in at least the NFC Championship game. Like, think about the roster at the end of the year.
I mean, I'm not saying that he ain't the most creative offensive mind, but is he the best? I mean,
well, the one year that he won, they sold all their draft picks away to get the talent they had. I mean, if we're gonna play devil's advocate, and then other than that, he's not really been back there that much since. I think he's maybe been up there like once or twice, and then all of his other years are kind of hit or miss.
Well, I just throwing that name out there. I just don't know that I'm 100% for sure saying somebody who's not won a Super Bowl yet is the best coach in the league. Like he said, you got Harbaugh in Baltimore, who's apparently a really good coach.
Mike Tomlin.
Tomlin.
I don't know if
losing season since he's been.
I think Mike Tomlin's a very good coach, and I was talking to a Steelers fan last year, and they were just dying to get rid of Mike. And I said, I promise you, if you get rid of Mike, it is going to be a hell of a lot harder to find a coach that's better than him than it is.
The grass is not always greener.
Like, you do not.
I think he's really.
Tomlin.
I think you're out on that. I think he's really good. I don't know that I would put him in. I'm sure I'd put him somewhere high.
I'd say he's top 10.
Oh yeah, for sure, top 10. I would imagine. Yeah.
At moments in his career.
Yeah.
All right, Cam. What are we doing next?
Do we all Niners are winning?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to take the Cardinals.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say let's move on to the next division.
That's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was. I thought maybe we skipped it or something, but yeah.
This is gonna be really good. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think that this is. I mean, I think it's gonna have kind of like back in the day when Harrison then was playing. There's gonna be a lot of bad blood between all these games. I feel like. I think that your Bengals, Thomas. It really just depends on if Burrows is healthy. I feel like. Right now, I have to go with the Ravens, and I hate it because I want the Bengals to win. I like the Bengals. I want you to be happy, Thomas. But the Ravens are just solid, man. And then they add Henry as well. I have the Ravens winning.
It's funny, Logan. He picked Miami, I think, for Rusty.
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
Nope,
funny, Rusty and Logan. He didn't pick nobody else's team to make us happy. But
it's fine.
He picked the Bengals for Thomas. Ain't that something?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't gonna pick the Panthers for obvious reasons, and I did play the Colts song. So
I'm just saying, it's go ahead with go ahead, Thomas. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, so I just want to make a few points. Everybody knows we had a hard schedule. We had a hard schedule last year, but I don't think we realized just how hard that schedule was. I couldn't find the stats, but it was something like the 5th hardest schedule in the history of the NFL, the hardest schedule since the 80s. And we went 9-8 with a backup quarterback. T. Higgins missed half the season, had a lot of injuries. Most importantly, to our star quarterback, one of the best players in the NFL. So going 9-8 in the toughest division with the hardest schedule in the league, it's pretty impressive.
Decent. Yeah.
I'm not too worried about our running backs. We lost Mixon, but I think Chase Brown, we're going to see a big year from. I'm not worried about our wide receivers at all. We lost Tyler Boyd, but I think this is a better wide receiver core than we had last year. We have Charlie Jones coming back. He was a high draft pick last year, got injured. We got Jermaine Burton in the draft this year, who's very good. I'm not worried about our D-line. We got Trey Hendrickson, puts up numbers comparable to Myles Garrett, probably better than Myles Garrett. TJ Watt up there in the TJ Watt category, closer to that. Sam Hubbard on the other side. Rankins and BJ Hill in the middle. Nick Bosa soon. Teaming up with his old Ohio State buddy. Yeah, so I mean, I think we got our secondary. I think that's our biggest weakness. We got a lot of young guys, a lot of talent, but I mean, I think people seem to have forgotten what we are when we're healthy, and that was a Super Bowl contender in the Super Bowl, and I think we're better than we were then, significantly. So I think it's our division to lose as long as we stay healthy. But Browns have very tough defense. The Ravens have a very tough everything, and then there's the Steelers, whatever.
I mean, they're going to win 9 games. The Steelers are.
Probably.
I guess we're probably not all in agreement here, obviously, since I said Ravens and Bengals. So, who do you have, John?
I mean, this is a great division, but I think every team has a chance to win 9 or 10 games. But I'll just go with the Ravens.
Rusty, who you got?
I'm going to go with the Ravens also. I think they're really good.
All right. All right.
Adding Henry. I mean, one of y'all said John Harbaugh was the best coach in the league, and I mean, he's been really, really good since he's been there. So I think they were great last year until they fell flat against the Chiefs in the playoffs. And I think they bounced back, and I think they're better this year than they were last year. So
Go ahead, Logan.
Hate to do it, Thomas. I just don't know how you stop a backfield with Lamar and Derrick Henry in it. And then the pieces they have on defense too. My God, I do have y'all in the playoffs. We'll get to that. I know we're running over, but we'll get to y'all making a play. You're gonna be fine. Jamar Chase will be a Panther, and everything's gonna be fine. You're gonna get a really high draft pick. It's gonna be sick. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how you stop that backfield. Lamar Jackson, contrary to what people believe, Lamar Jackson is good at football. Like, people act like he's not a good quarterback, but he is. He's good. And then you give him Derrick Henry, who you're not going to tackle unless you just want to really hurt your body. Yeah.
Derrick Henry has to fall off a little bit. I mean,
he hasn't yet.
If this is the year.
That's true. He's not the only weapon on this offense.
Last year he was not what he was the year before.
I mean, like I said, I don't. Regardless of what your Instagram stories say about me, sometimes I really don't hate y'all. Like, I just think this is gonna be a tough football team, and Harbaugh is a top 5 coach in the league.
I agree. I think the Bengals and Ravens are 2 of the top, probably 4 teams in the NFL.
This is a conference that Cam said that Cam meant to say that anybody could win. Like,
I did include them. I just want to say,
like, even the Browns and the Steelers. Like, Mike Tomlin is up there. Mike Tomlin's a hell of a coach. I mean, maybe they couldn't win, but like, they're not a dumpster fire like the Titans are probably going to be.
Yeah, I mean, if we see Seahawks Russell Wilson, or I don't know what kind of Justin Fields, but not the one that drops the ball every play. The Ohio State Justin Fields. I mean, that's a tough. It's a tough team.
We're getting something.
Who did you have, Jay Moore?
I just want to go on record. I didn't say that I thought anybody was necessarily the best coach. I may have said there's an argument to be had. That's what I was thinking.
Well, go on record. Who's the best coach?
I have no idea. That's what I said. There's an argument to be had for several of them. Well, really just 2 or 3 probably. Maybe even 2. But
who's the 2?
Probably Niners dude and John Harbaugh probably. I think you're right about McVay. I don't think they've been good enough consistently for him. I just threw a name out. But I think I'm not very big on the Steelers like y'all. I think this is actually – I'm not saying it's Mike Tomlin's fault. I think he's a great coach. I think this may be the team that finally pushes them over the edge and gives the Steelers fans, some of them, what they want. And I agree. I don't think it's the right decision. I don't think it's a good decision at all. I think they need to get better players, you're not gonna find a much better coach as far as just bringing somebody in like that. But I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I don't think the Henry what's his name? Jackson backfield is going to be as ridiculous as what it looks like on paper. From seeing Henry every year, he is very, very tackable. You just have to get him before he gets a yard or two downfield, gets going. His first few steps are not great. Once he gets past line of scrimmage, he's basically untackable, like with one-on-one. Just because the way the rules are lined up, he can take your face mask and shove it into the ground or break your neck with it. Like I don't know how it's not offensive face mask, but whatever. But they're going to be very, very good again. I don't know. I think like Thomas said, the Bengals are probably better than they were the year that they went to Super Bowl or almost went to Super Bowl, whichever it was. I think y'all went to Super Bowl, right?
We were there.
I think it's just as good a team if everybody stays healthy. I think Burrow, I know he's not been healthy, but he's got to be better. That was how many years ago. He's a better quarterback. I just don't think I wonder if having Henry back there is going to take away from some of Lamar's creativity, maybe, and they're going to try to rely too much on just handing it off to Henry. I know it sounds crazy to say you probably shouldn't hand it off to Henry, but it kind of takes the ball out of Lamar's hands more. I think it could hurt him in some games, but again, I think it's really close. I think it's like 49%, but I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
Coin flip.
Yeah, see, I think that, like your point, that if you could stop him in the backfield before he gets ahead of steam going, then he's tackable. But I think this makes him. You can't, like with Tennessee, you could send everybody after him because you wasn't scared of like a quarterback option running the ball. And I think with this, they're going to do a lot of read options and stuff. I don't know that you can really sell out for either one of them.
You weren't, but Tannehill was capable of hitting slants and outs, and I think you have to make Lamar beat you with his arm. I think it's obviously. I'm not one of these people that thinks he's not a good quarterback. I think he's a great quarterback and very capable of throwing it. I think you have to make him beat you like that, which he has beat people before in the past with that kind of style. And but come playoffs, maybe in a rainy game or something, I don't, what I mean, like I just think the Bengals are more of a. I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's really that close. Maybe I just can't pull for Derrick Henry. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure if that's maybe because I hate that guy, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't hate him, but I think he gets. I think it's ridiculous. He can do what he does to like defensive players, but then defensive players can't even get near a face mask. Like you literally break people's neck. Like, how can you grab somebody's face mask and pick them up by it and throw them out, like shove them away? I don't get it, but whatever. I've talked about this for years now.
Yeah, I wouldn't throw a flag on him. Have you seen him?
Yeah, I'd throw a flag on him. He ain't no bigger than nobody else out there on the field.
You really not think Lamar, a former NFL MVP, can't make a slant throw that Ryan Tannehill can make?
Yeah, I'm still saying he can. I'm just saying that's how you have to make him beat you. But
I think on the feet's what I think is a difference maker, like, comparable to Tannehill. I think
Ryan Tannehill can make. I promise you that.
Hey,
yeah.
Tannehill won the AFC that year.
Yeah, he can make those throws. I'm just, consistently over and over and over again. I know Lamar's capable, but there's a reason they've not they've been really, really good all these years, and it comes down. I'm not saying it's Lamar's fault. I'm just saying I think that's how you have to beat them, is make him beat you by throwing it. I don't think that's a crazy take. I think it's kind of the unanimous take around. I'm not saying Tannehill's a better quarterback than Lamar by no means. Please, no. So, I mean, that's but it was effective in Tennessee. Everybody knew how to stop Tennessee. But it's still, but at times you couldn't always do it. So,
yeah. I just, my thing was him running the ball, like not him throwing it. It was more of like Tannehill's ability to run isn't equivalent to, I don't think anybody's is equivalent to Lamar's at the moment. I mean, Richardson could be there.
Well, no, but they don't. But Lamar, they don't want Lamar running it that much, so they're gonna.
Well, that's dumb. First of all,
yeah, it is. But I mean, they've come out and said that they want to protect him. Like, wait until playoff time. You know what I mean? Like, wait until whenever. So they're going to be like, And we're not saying who's going to win. Like I'm talking about the division, the regular season. Kind of like somebody said earlier with the Dolphins, like warm weather, so they'll win the division. I feel like throughout the year, I don't know. I just think the Bengals will get them. But like I say, I think it's a coin toss.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no bad picks on this division.
No.
I guess just to finish it up, John, did we get yours on this?
He's still in the AFC North.
Yeah, he said the Ravens.
Oh, you said the right. Okay.
What are we talking about?
Sorry, I went on. I talked too much on that one.
No, you're good. We can just
listen. That's a good division.
I don't think we got Rusty's. Did we, Rusty?
It doesn't.
Yeah,
matter.
you got
Rusty said the. Yeah, he said the Ravens. I think.
I guess I blocked that out.
Yeah, we can just if you want to just pick our Super Bowl matchup and winners. That way we ain't up too much longer. I mean, I think mine's obvious. I'll have
The Jaguars.
the Niners playing against the Chiefs again. And, just because I'm being a homer, I'm gonna pick us to finally win. But I'm not gonna lie, seeing them there again. And if we lose again to them, I don't know what that's going to do to me. So I don't really want to talk about it anymore.
Nothing. It'll be the same thing it was this year. You'll be mad and you'll get over it.
You've won one, so you have that. But everybody else in this group, I think, none of us have won one.
Oh,
Denver's won 2.
I've won
Yeah,
2.
he's won 2.
Should have won 3, really, but would have won 3 if the new kickoff rules were applied back then. So
it's all rigged anyways. Why are we even wasting our time?
That's I love it.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it.
We debated who the best coach was, and nobody mentioned Andy Reid. Like, what's?
Well, I mean, that goes out.
Yeah, that's true.
I forgot about Andy Reid, but yeah. No, I think I throw him up there for sure. I don't care who he is.
Yeah, I agree. He's for sure. He's top 5.
Yeah. Well,
all right. Let's do the thing.
Yeah, I can't remember what we were even.
It's hard to talk about the Chiefs.
Super Bowl.
Like, what do you want to say?
Super Bowl.
I was just talking. Yeah, you said that I'll be okay, but like it sticks with you. Like when you haven't won one yet, it sticks with you. That was my point. And Thomas, that year that he lost, if I'm not mistaken, you also lost in college basketball, and then wasn't there another one? The Celtics.
Yeah, the finals. Yeah.
Yeah, all 3
we all
in the
lost in
same
the
year.
finals. It was awesome.
Yeah.
He said it was awesome.
Are you doing okay, Thomas? Life all right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the Celtics
are
winning this year helped.
Right now.
Does a Super Bowl loss for Thomas and Logan?
The Super Bowl is the worst. Super Bowl is by far the worst.
It stings because you don't know if you'll ever get back there.
Cameron, I've watched my team lose the Super Bowl. I know what it feels like.
But you've won 2. That's my point.
You've won 8 or whatever you claim to be the best. Yeah, but that's all y'all talk about is how much y'all won like this many. So you've been down to rivals and all this stuff. Like, if you have not won one, then don't claim them.
I haven't. I'm not. I've always said I've not won any.
Well, no, you've not. You talked about how many I've won.
Exactly.
Try again.
No, that is true. I have said that since I've been born. We won one the year that I was born, and we have not won any since I've been born.
You're the problem here. Is that what you're saying?
I could be.
Now you've already changed it. Before you said you hadn't won one since you've been born. You not remember that? Come on.
No, it's not. Well, I mean, we won the year before I was born. Whatever.
Oh, before you? Okay.
I guess, but we've had 3 that we've lost in my lifetime.
All right, Jamar, who's your Super Bowl pick?
I don't even know anymore. I'm gonna go with the Niners, I guess, just because it seems to be what the cool thing to do now is because the Niners go there every year. It seems like I want to. I mean, obviously, I'd like to pick my team, but realistically, I'm not going to. I think we're going to have a Cameron and Thomas matchup. I think the Bengals are getting there. If they're going to beat the Ravens, they're going to good enough to go to the Super Bowl. So I think it'll be the Niners against either the Ravens or the Bengals. That's that coin toss, and I picked the Bengals before, so I'll stick with them. I think that Taylor Swift is going to break Kelsey's heart mid-season, and then they're going to fall like really, really out of control.
I hope so.
I hope too.
It's going to be a great album she releases next.
Yeah. Rusty, who do you got?
I've got the 49ers in the NFC, and I've got the Ravens in the AFC, and I've got the Ravens winning it all.
I've got the electricity winning that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. John, who do you have?
I have the Ravens taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, and I didn't really pick a winner, but I'll go with the Ravens. I just said the Chiefs lose in the first round to the Jets at Arrowhead.
Wow.
Logan, we're gonna go to you.
Go ahead. I'm still trying to decide.
Okay, well, Thomas, do you think? I wanted to specifically mention one matchup that you're gonna have to win because I want to get you riled up. Do you think y'all can beat the Chiefs?
Have we proven otherwise?
I mean, you have before.
3 out of 4 times. I mean, and that fourth time was a lot of officiating help. You know, hate to be that fan.
I mean, it's rigged. It's all rigged. It don't matter. It's a soap opera. Is all we're watching.
I wish I'd rig it for us.
I don't think anybody in the AFC can beat us. I mean, we've proven that the Bills can't beat us. We've proven that the Chiefs can't beat us. Beat the Ravens in the playoffs without Lamar, but yeah, we'll see with the Ravens. Ravens are tough, but yeah, I'm saying Bengals, Niners rematch. You guys got us the first 2 times, but you guys are the second best team in the world. So
can't argue with that.
Are we done?
Logan.
What are we?
That's Logan's picks.
I think I'm gonna go Ravens, Eagles. The bird matchup. I think I'm gonna give it to Lamar. I think it's gonna happen. He's finally gonna get over the hump, and he's not gonna be hurt, or they're not gonna make really stupid decisions in the fourth quarter with time running out in the playoffs. I think it's finally gonna happen. I think that team's really good. I do think, first of all, Thomas, I do think the Bengals are good. I want that to be noted. I don't need this on your Instagram story.
I'm putting it on the story.
Like, I'm not saying y'all are trash. I'm saying I think that team is going to be really, really good.
Well, I think that NFL, college, both of them, it's football season. It's a lot to be excited for.
I think, real quick, I'm going to give everybody's thoughts on, get your picks. Who you think's going to win the Lonesome Pine District in high school in Virginia this year, just because I know everybody's so excited to.
What's that?
That's what I figured. I was just, it was just kidding. I knew that wouldn't go over well. I just wanted to.
Is that girls basketball?
Basically, you coach soccer, so I know you wouldn't know.
I'm 1-0 as a coach. First of all, undefeated, never lost.
1-0, you've coached for 2 years.
Yeah, but I've only been a head coach once.
Oh.
Well, the question is, how much of it is your coaching, or it's your assistant coach?
I promise, it's all coaching. I've literally never lost.
But I'm talking about in soccer. Is it your coaching or is it your assistant coaches?
No, it's me.
By that, I mean your wife.
No, like she's
the one that plays.
So you're
soccer.
A terrible assistant coach. And you're good
no,
head
the
coach.
Assistant has no. Listen, in 3 through 5 YMCA soccer, the assistant does not have enough power. I'm just going to say that on the record. I can't make the decisions that need to be made. I am like 11-0 scoring difference in my games.
I just figured.
I wouldn't go that far. I don't want to hear her side of her story at all.
Yeah, I don't want her side yet.
No, I'm good
with Logan's side.
1-0 sounds good. All right, fellas, I appreciate it. I don't know about Cam, but I gotta go to bed.
5 o'clock comes early.
Well, I appreciate it, guys.
As well. Close this out?
Yeah, Logan. I think the podcast was at its prime with you hosting that one time.
I mean, it literally quit after I quit hosting it. So
yeah.
Why are you feeding this into like keep adding to like you? I know you don't. I know like what are you doing?
I was just trying to hype him up for his send off. He's
At
getting
the
ready to give
prime,
us.
though, like you had to go that far with it.
Is he wrong?
Yeah,
stretch.
100% wrong. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that makes you wrong.
Well,
Anyways.
of course,
I-
that's why you're
I-
not a good host. You can't negotiate things.
I do want to say that we didn't get to use it any, but we decided before you two got on that if y'all got into it, Jamar was going to use like how they use in the political debates. He was going to start muting y'all. Unfortunately, we didn't get into it though.
Whoever was trying to interrupt the other one in an argument, I was going to mute the other one.
Yeah.
See, that seems ridiculous.
Maybe next
to
time.
me. That seems ridiculous. Does anybody ever let Rusty talk? This is the only time Rusty gets to have an opinion.
What even talking now?
We've made it 2.5 hours, so we might as well let's not get into it now.
All
All
right,
right,
send us
Porch
off.
Talk. For anybody that actually listening this long, Porch Talk will be back next week with a really cool thing on Coach Jones. Real excited about it. Appreciate y'all coming on. We'll do it again here in a few weeks, probably sometime or something, or draft. I guess we got a draft next week. Is it next week?
Yep. We're going live
Next
for the
week,
draft.
so-
Everybody be ready for Taylor's back-to-back-to-back roster. Is it fair to say that now?
I mean, won back to back. So
He's a champ.
yeah.
If you're still here after like 3 hours of this mess, I don't know what you're doing. You probably need to find a hobby. Thanks for coming and listening, and we'll see you next time.
There it is.
Deuces.
All right.
Rusty, you want to respond to that? Or?
I have nothing to say to him.
Okay, we're at on that. Yeah.
All right. You get into it.
Uh,